Warning! The voices heard in this video are made synthetically using artificial intelligence. Nothing in this video reflects anything actually stated by the real-life individuals involved. This video is for entertainment purposes only, and serious political content will be avoided for that purpose. Enjoy.
Who's a good boy?
Damn you. Don't deviate from Donald diving deeper into the deep roads dudes. Welcome back, viewers. After a brief look at Hawke and Meryl's banging arrangements, it's time we start this DLC, boys, and hear what you two have been glazing about all series.
Roll for initiative, Donald, and hope you have the alert feat. Last time you braved the homeland of the dwarves, they clapped you up left, right, and center.
Right, and George is here too, viewers, since this DLC does have to deal slightly with dwarf lore. And it's in the deep roads the entire time, so this should be a classic Dragon Age adventure today.
Yeah, sure, but more importantly, who are you going to bring for the DLC squad, Donald, that actually matters, like a lot?
If I could make a request, the secret boss is actually in the first section. Do you think you could grab Aveline for me? You can swap her out after I'm done.
Jesus, you two. Why even ask if you're going to tie my nuts down like this? Barack, you're already making me bring Carver here and now. I have to bring your muscle mommy too. Joe, I'm not bringing your goddamn waifu. I am just going to slot Varric here for a little bit of fun in the squad.
Oh God, Mommy, it's always good to see you. Make me feel lighter, like you can pick me up. Maybe you can find the secret in my mountains, please.
Heavy pause. You know, playing this game with you all has really made a lot more things make sense in hindsight. I can't help. But notice this girl interviewing our base dwarf looks very similar to that knight companion you made for your rogue in our second campaign, Barack.
It's just a coincidence, I assure you, George.
Yeah, just like the red-headed bard I want playing in every tavern in your setting. It's just a small bit of writing bleed nothing intention.
Don't be pussies. Yes, George. We are three grown adult men who like to include our waifus in our dice-rolling adventure. There's nothing wrong with it.
All right, I respect your honesty, but just know I am memorizing all the waifus in your series so I don't recreate their exact image in my campaign.
Damn it! Well, looks like Varric has transported us to goddamn Tatooine because we are in the middle of nowhere. What's the setup here, Barack? Some kind of revenge story on the Carta and Darkspawn.
Well, basically, a section of the Carta attacked Hawke in his estate in Kirkwall, and at the same time attacked Carver at a warden fortress in Ansburg. We are here to put a stop to it because Hawke doesn't take shit lying down.
What the hell is Ansburg?
It's a big field area on the northeast part of the Free Marches Nothing, but farms in this fortress from what we know. A small plot hole, though, because Ansburg is even farther away from Kirkwall than Starkhaven. But we just met Carver in Kirkwall a week ago. We can only explain that by saying the attack happened before his expedition with Nathaniel, I suppose.
Suspicious, and she's twitchy to start with.
Oh, hey, the Carta, those are those guys I based my strength-based rogue on in that little series we did. I hope Tug II is doing good.
Well, George, all I can say is Tug the Dwarf is certainly safe from what's about to happen here, trust me.
Okay, that's all I needed to know, thank God.
Oh, good God, that was devious, Joe. But moving on, it's good to see Carver back in his warden gear, since he had his old sleeveless upgraded armor on last episode due to a bug with the mod. I believe they did it because that armor scales with level and has better stats, but thankfully they gave Carver a new upgraded armor for the DLC and epilogue.
Well, not 2 seconds after the cutscene, and we already have party banter. Seems like the squad is going to be really chatty in this mission. Let's equip Carver properly and move on.
That's really strange.
Shouting "It's the Hawk" should normally be a goddamn horrifying thing for people to hear. Just ask the Coterie, Quinari, or Fantasy French.
Speaking of that last one, good thing you joined this episode, George, because our next one is going to feature nothing but Orlesians instead of dwarves.
Fuck the Fantasy French. Why would we need to explore any of their characters when the little guys are right here? So if this mission is about the deep roads, does that mean we are finally going to drill baby drill and find some fantasy oil soon? I know the base dwarves would be all over that.
Not exactly about digging. It's a more structured deep roads adventure than that, George, but you will see what we mean. Trust me, though, they brought out the dwarf experts in the writing room for this series. You're going to have fun.
Oh, I will bring you all glory. Just come over here and let me find the nearest curb to place your asses on. They really made this gigantic battlefield littered with bodies, and instead of using it, are running further in like cowards.
Yeah, man, it's a whole family reunion up in here.
I haven't come yet, but show me some Isabella animations and I might get there.
Donald, please shut the hell up. This lore is about to be important.
Oh, okay, looks like we have some sins of the father situation going on. You know dwarves value family, so they would hold a grudge over something our dad did decades ago.
Jabadon is the champion of Kirkwall, a successful businessman, conquered hundreds of elves and Isabella, and curb stomped even more blood mages. But somehow we are just the children of Malcolm Hawke to this dude. I'd rather just go back to being called a Ferelden refugee. That's somehow less insulting.
Your human titles mean nothing to them, Donald. They are all business.
For good roleplay reasons, George, but in reality, these guys clearly have something wrong with them. They are spacey, emotional, and twitchy. Plus, they have pretty blank, almost white eyes. That only means one thing: the blight is involved, same as Ruck.
Wait, Corypheus, what the hell does the deeper-voiced architect have to do with this?
Oh.
Joe, are you good?
Yeah, just a random migraine flare. I don't really know what happened, but looks like you have your first bit of combat for the DLC. Let's see how prepared you are.
All right, I know a smokescreen when I see one. But I am not going to press you right now, especially when we have some story beats to focus on.
No reason to play Meta Obama. You can play this mission anytime after all, right? Besides, there is never a wrong time for a good old-fashioned family revenge plot.
That's true. This DLC even changes depending on when you do it, since the 3 acts take place years apart, George. However, almost everyone agrees to do it at the end of your playthrough, unless there's a dialogue option or scene you want to see.
Oh shit, you're doing the DLC today, Donald? Want me to tag in here? This shit is definitely going to be worse than the mage lovers are telling you.
Oh, no, I'm fine. I am locked in here, and it's just some dwarves, which means no mages to rig this shit for me.
Uh-huh, sure thing. We will see how long that lasts. Just a heads up. Dwarves are resistant to fire damage and weak to cold, so you're going to want to switch to the cold staff for the first half, then switch back in the second half.
Oh shit, good work switching staffs. Donald, I was just about to remind you to do that.
Yeah, of course, I noticed it almost immediately. On my own, I just wanted to give these little guys a fighting chance. It's only fair, since they have different models, that we should see what they can do.
Uh-huh, really now?
Damn, I can see why you wanted Aveline in the party, Barry. Having 2 tanks almost makes this shit too easy. As much as I hate to say it, I think Carver with the Templar specialization makes a better frontline fighter than Fenris does.
First, Isabella, now my goat, Fenris, stop shitting on my character, Sleepy.
All right, I know you have beef with Fenris, but Carver has a long way to go before being a better front line. Yeah, sure, the Templar specialization has better active spells like Holy Smite and Silence. But Fenris's Lyrium Ghost gives him far more damage and survivability, while Templar has no real active spells. I guess it ultimately depends how you play, but as a non-controllable party member, Fenris is far better to throw into a fight.
Oh, hey, it's Snug, the big Brano who helped in Amdrak Taig. Looks like he recognizes us and wants some pets for old time's sake.
No, George, I'm pretty sure that isn't Snug, and his form of a hug is to impale us with love.
What the hell, since when were Brontos in this game? I don't remember seeing any of these big bastards since the Origins Dwarf section.
You're right, Donald, they are a completely new enemy in this game. And to add an extra challenge, they are fire vulnerable while resisting cold, which acts as a good counter for the other dwarves you are fighting right now. This entire area is also different from any other map in Dragon Age 2, so viewers participating in the drink competition can take a break for the next 2 episodes.
If someone actually does the drinking challenge, I really would be amazed if they haven't gotten dropped yet. Also, I know these things are supposed to be rhinos, but they always felt like dinosaurs. For some reason, they are way more spiky looking than normal rhinos.
Branos are based off the real-life prehistoric animal Brontotherid, which had horns on the side of its mouth made of bone, and was a great deal bigger than a normal rhino. All the bone appendages helps give it that dino look.
So to summarize, Nerd Bama, the Carta not only like blood and engaging in Mafia City antics, but they are basically playing Jurassic Park 2?
For something like that, George, yes. Although the Bronto were always here, they never went extinct, they just domesticate easily. Also, Donald, go ahead and loot around the fortress here. There's 3 codex entries you want to grab to start the secret boss later on, Donald.
Fine, but I'm only doing this to see your ass get clapped up by whatever the hell you are fighting. Also, the squad is still yapping. They really used every hour of recording time in this DLC for dialogue.
Party banter has always been a fan favorite. It makes sense to focus on it. Unlike normal banter between 2 party members, this DLC mixes it up by making the whole squad talk to each other. Also, Purple Hawk banter is just a goddamn treat, especially with the male voice actor.
A spit mage sounds like a really fun character to make for a one-shot campaign. Maybe that would be a wild magic sorcerer or something.
If some mage tried to spit on me to cast a fireball, I'm grabbing his thin ass lips and making some alchemy with them when I combine it with 2 parts curb.
Damn, whoever designed the layout of this fort must not have liked your love of Lore Barry. They shoved all 3 of the codex entries into hidden corners while the combat. And trap activators are front and center.
Thanks, Joe, I am really feeling the love now. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but the fact they put in this much lore to these areas at all is appreciated. I mean, like, look, we are even learning new Dwarven words.
You mean us and the viewers know that, Barack, you have a stand that makes you understand every language anyway, so for you it's nothing new. Looks like all these plaques really like talking about sacrifice, plagues, and loneliness. It's a real Reddit conversation now, boys.
You know, ironically, every player character in Dragon Age does visit a beach at one point or another. Even POTUS does in Awakening, Although the only nice beaches are maybe the Wounded Coast and the Riving Coast in Veilguard.
Fair, but that cheap pirate beach ride will never top the Far Cry series beaches where we can actually chill and fish. That shit is peak.
Without me there, the guard won't be able to keep a lid on if it boils over.
I know the big girl is a workaholic, but she does have a point here. The DLCs always take place before the Mage Templar War, or whatever big end of act mission for obvious reasons, but there's also the risk of leaving the Qunari or the Templars to their own devices that freaks everyone out.
Rule number 1 of game design, always plan for your players to ignore the main quest until they are max level, or at the most random of times.
There's no way I'd miss watching you make these motherless nuts.
True enough, most players have no urgency to them also. Here's a view to end all views, probably the coolest dwarven fortress BioWare ever designed.
Why does this view look so familiar, almost like I go here every day while I dream or some shit?
Well, it's probably because you have played Dragon Age 2 so many times before Joe, and this is probably in the top 3 quest lines in this game.
Yeah, I guess you are right. Also, I like the foreshadowing with the Codex entries talking about how large the fortress is, and that there are even winding caverns down below, which we can find later. It's how these Codex entries should be used, even if it's a little on the nose.
I guess you have that memorized because there's no way your old ass remembers that shit so fast. Also, good God, why is every corner with these little guys? I ambush, can't I grab the goddamn right key without Jimmy the Dwarf and his 12 identical mustached friends pulling up with the firing squad?
Nah, the dwarves would never make it easy for you. They got to stand proud and united like the true goat tug and repel these pesky human intruders from their fortress. Dwarven archers are especially strong because of your base squad mate there. Almost makes me want to roll up another carded dwarf, this time as a rogue archer.
Fun fact, these are some of the only archers who have advanced bow abilities like Hail of Arrows, Bursting Arrow, and a Piercing Arrow, although they tend not to use them as often as they should. Donald's gotten used to fighting the carded dwarves already, so let's cut ahead a little bit, shall we?
Hell yeah, it's time to attack them in their lair while they are sleeping like true American warriors. No one comes to my house and fucks me except Mommy Isabella and the Blood Mage, I guess.
I'm glad you're finally respecting my girl, but what the hell even happened there? You suicide-bombed Hawke and the other dwarves when you flipped the trap switch. It was like a goddamn Vegeta explosion.
It was a goddamn misclick. Okay, hop off, Sleepy.
That seems to happen a lot lately, huh? Also, while I'm normally good at figuring out Varric's friendships, I have to admit I never got how Aveline and Varric view each other. He obviously respects Aveline, but he doesn't give her a nickname like everyone else, and she seems mostly done with his bullshit after 9 years, and probably only puts up with it because he is friends with Hawke and her husband.
So wait, I just realized, did we unintentionally save Carver from being used as a sacrifice? Carver is in the Wardens, which we know changes their blood, and we learned later that the magic seals need non-tainted blood to work.
That's actually a pretty good point, and these guys know Carver is in the Wardens since they attacked him at a Warden outpost, and this letter confirms it too. Definitely a plot hole from the looks of it.
They probably lost a lot of brain cells or don't know the rules about Warden blood, but that one doesn't seem as true based on what we find out later. Also, you'll enjoy this Donald if Hawke is the only surviving sibling. And we are living in the Hightown mansion, this letter will specifically say, to avoid the young dwarf living in the mansion as he sees things.
Good, even when they have lost their minds, they know to avoid our one true Lord, Sandel.
I think the Carter's fear of this Sandel dude is starting to make me understand why y'all like him, but I am still going to need a few more miracles to be created first to be sure.
Your lack of faith disturbs me, George. You're just going to have to believe in the power of enchantments. They aren't just for display. Also, Donald, this is a really weird angle to fight the little guys in. You basically don't have view on the enemies, and they don't have view on you. It's a big stalemate right now.
Hop off, Joe, and let me cook. Why don't you just focus on that upcoming secret boss you have to fight, Obama? From what I understand, it's coming up in the next cutscene after I pick up some orb in the next room.
Yeah, sure thing, Donald. So as a little explanation for the viewers, and George, I am going to fight the secret boss in Legacy and in Mark of the Assassin, so any deaths here count for me, not Donald. I am doing this to keep the death competition fair, since after the DLC episodes, I doubt we will have any deaths until the final battle. For the levels and equipment we get after this DLC, will just be too broken to offer a challenge. But these next 2 episodes are where this competition will really make or break.
Sounds like we got some real stakes in the ground. You love to see it. Also, that preaching note over here makes it sound like this Cory person is some kind of vampire. They really emphasize when he touches the sun again, they will be made whole.
Make us whole again.
No, Joe, please, but not to disappoint you, George. But this guy is not a vampire, and thankfully vampires aren't even a thing in Dragon Age, since honestly they are a little overplayed in fantasy in my opinion. And it might attract an even more horny fan base than what Dragon Age already has.
Why the hell is the orb warm? Actually, we don't have the Innuendo Queen with us. I don't want to ask that. Should I start backtracking to the big fort now, Obama?
Well, you can.
Do you smell something sort of like rotten meat?
But before you do that, go ahead and go up one room first. There's a really cool lore point that we can go over first since you brought Varric here.
Not a good sign. And not how I want to think of Father.
I hope you... If this has to do with your father, we'd better get our hands on this key.
Oh boy, this one you are trying to make the viewers cry little Barry devious work.
Looks like some of these guys are friendly enough to talk to Donald time to roll a speech check and show off your dwarf riz.
You know, it makes sense that Varric has some friends in the Carta, but I didn't expect them to be a part of the Darkspawn blood-drinking cult subdivision of the dwarf crime family. Why are we even trying to reason with this dude? He seems pretty far gone with the blight with his white eyes.
With how blunt Carver normally is, you would think he would flat out tell Varric, yeah man, he is too far gone with the blight, we need to put him down. Anders might say something too, but he might be nicer since he likes Varric.
This dude is clearly important to Varric, so that means the DM of this DLC clearly wanted to give some character drama for our favorite dwarven archer. We really are killing a base young dwarven inventor with some dwarf-on-dwarf crime right now. You absolutely hate to see it, boys. Brother Dwarf should not be torn apart like this. It's time to take the fight to these wretched spawn and end this curse as the champion of this land.
Goddamn, that was some bars, George. Good work. Not the best reason to kill a darkspawn, but I appreciate your drive for vengeance all the same. Oh, wait, I think I remember seeing this scene on YouTube now.
But if you're after eternal youth, I've got to tell you, he's no virgin.
Varric, how the hell can you possibly know that we are not a virgin? Do you have bugs in our mansion or something?
Joe Hawke banged an elf in front of him in the Blooming Rose. He is best friends with Isabella. And he is an adopted dad to Meryl. I guarantee he knows about every single activity Hawke gets down to as our trusty narrator.
Let's call it like it is, Barack. That was entirely you in the Blooming Rose. Don't rope me or Joe into that. We were unwilling participants. Also, wait, this dude is Bianca's father? I thought that was his ex-girlfriend's invention or something.
And so both of those statements are true. Jirav is the father, and Bianca is the mother. Jirav was inventing a new repeating crossbow to be used by the Carta who funded his research, but every prototype he made failed. Varric learned about Jirav's work and purchased his number 14 prototype, which was the closest to work, and took the crossbow to a young smith named Bianca who perfected Jirav's design. The Carta learned about Varric's crossbow, and he helped Jirav out saying it was his work, and he just adjusted some of her firing pins. The Carta gave Jirav more gold to recreate more Biancas, which he used to create upgrades for her that we can find in Inquisition. But he never was able to recreate what the smith Bianca created. He never will since his section of the Carta discovered Corypheus and now are chugging Darkspawn blood.
Damn, we are really killing Bianca's dad right now. That's sad as shit. Varric really is a ride or die homie for Hawke now, you love to see it. He will even cross out old friends if Hawke asked him.
Also, this goddamn stealth length is longer than my Trump Tower. Can you just come out and die so we can progress, please?
A moment of silence and respect, Donald. This was Varric's friend, after all. And Bro was the inventor of one of the best weapons in the Dragon Age series. Hell, even more beautiful than Vigilance, in my opinion.
This fight is tedious because on Nightmare difficulty he is immune to all elemental damage, so only physical damage hurts him. It's annoying, but you still took him down. All this fighting will be worth it, Donald, since Jirav drops a unique ring for Varric that gives him extra dexterity crit chance, and has a chance for Varric to automatically go into stealth when hit with an attack. A really good late game item to give him while we move on to the secret boss now.
All right, viewers, my hands and presidential body are away from the keyboard now, so any screw-ups, deaths, or fails are on Obama, not me. I get to take a nugget break and watch the chaos unfold.
Oh, no chaos needed. I have a perfect strategy for this fight. Go ahead and bring out the Victini, because this is a guaranteed victory for me, boys.
Interested to see how you handle this, Barry. Looks like you are starting out with a literal left forward dead ghost horde that puts Redcliffe to shame. Your force magic can go pretty hard here if you use it right.
Goddamn, this fort is now under siege by ghost boys. You better bring out the holy water and silver. These hands are not enchanted enough to deal with this.
Well, not Silver George, but these guys are actually weak to spirit damage, so walking bomb. And Spirit Bolt is key here, as well as focusing everyone onto one side of the fort.
You say that while you are actively pulling a Hawke away to the other side, while once again everyone but your muscle mommy is about to go down again, Barack. I don't even see the boss yet, and you are already making a real butt clencher here.
Oh, hop off, Donald. I have trust in Hawke's tank stats. I figure we need to divert the aggro a little bit more, since Carver got chopped down beforehand.
Says Bam, our base dwarf and brother are down. I know you have faith in your tank waifu, but this fight is already a personal loss. In my opinion, you better heal them bitches up.
My name is not Bam, and goddamn, this is more damage on Hawke than I really wanted to take here.
This is not a good look, Barry. Why didn't you use regroup on Hawke as soon as Carver got downed? that would have pulled the heat off Hawke. And like you said, you had plenty of potions.
Oh shit, honestly, I forgot I even had that spell. We just got it. After all, I'm not used to it.
What the hell do you mean you forgot you had a spell? Joe's dementia is rubbing off on you? Obama, it's time to pick your favorite nursing home and golf field in Florida, old friend.
Fuck Florida, pick a nice ranch in Texas. We could be neighbors and line dance together, since playing Dragon Age doesn't seem to be your strong suit here.
No.
Well, let's cut ahead before we do the great roast of Barry too early in the series, boys.
All right, thank you, Joe, and the rest of you all can hop off. I messed up. But I'm locked in now. As much as I hate to say this, Donald had a point. I should have fully cleared one side before trying to take on the other. So as long as you take out one side fully before going to the other, this part of the fight is easy. Now it's time for the part of the fight that is going to be a pain in the ass, the Super Blood Mage, who is even tankier than Meryl.
Thank you, Obama, for finally acknowledging my excellent strategic strengths for both this playthrough and this country.
All right, that's not at all
now
what I
onto
said.
this Blood Mage necromancy coward. I don't care if he is tankier than the archdemon we killed their CEO and their French Union. We now need to kill their apparent god for them to get the message that they don't have rights.
Now, I don't know much about this game, but I do know we should be thankful Donald isn't fighting this guy, because a Blood Mage rock monster thing would have probably flipped his ass over and sacrificed him to the same gods who restrained his power.
Damn George, and here I thought we were friends. You keep talking like that and I'm going to bar you from using Lincoln's room and the Oval Office to plan and host D&D night. You three pores can go to a damn game shop for all I care. This Blood Mage would have been crying and shitting everywhere as I double team him with holy smites that would make POTUS and Cullen blush. I have overcome my Blood Mage demons after playing a mage and learning my enemy. I fear no man.
All right, cool, Donald. Well, how about I hand the controller back over to you? And you can go ahead and show everyone how much you have grown in this series by taking on this Blood Mage with 3 times the health of the Urshak.
Yeah, you see, I definitely would, but I didn't take my game supplements this morning, and I sprained my thumb, so it wouldn't really be an accurate showing of my skill level, so just lock in. I'm sure you got this.
Sure thing, Donald. Well, Barry, you seem to be doing better, despite how tanky this dude is, so I'm going to let you handle my fight next episode, too. This fight looks absolutely awful with the never-ending skeletons that he randomly can summon when he teleports. I am pretty sure the only way to stop the waves is to either burst his health down or fight through 8 whole waves of enemies.
You are absolutely right, Joe. I am surprised you know, but I guess this is your game after all. The 2 best strategies I can give for his second stage is to focus on all the skeletons first, since on Nightmare there's no easy way to burst his health down fast enough to keep him distracted. You can either kit Malvernus around with a mage, or have Aveline face tank them. Also, you can cheese this fight by retreating all the way to the exit of the fort by the red force field. As it's possible to be so far away, Malvernus won't even follow you, so you can take out the undead safely.
Well, his health has barely moved for the last minute or so, which tells my Game Master instincts that this fight is going to take a while. Do you have a comment question prepped in the meantime, Obama? We might be here a while.
Yes, sure, George, I have something in mind. We won't get a better chance to ask this, so we might as well ask now. The Legacy DLC helps close out the story arc of the Hawke siblings and gives them a little more depth with the party banter and Malcolm's will side quest. That being said, viewers, who is your favorite of the 2 Hawke siblings? And to add some more drama into the mix, what fate do you normally pick for your favorite Hawke sibling? As for me, I have to give it to Carver as a Templar. I feel like him carrying on his namesake as a Templar after learning about his father's friend is really thematic, and it creates an interesting drama for the end of the game, where a mage Hawke would be on opposite sides of the Templar War. As to why Carver is my favorite personally, it's mostly because, unlike Bethany, I believe Carver has an impressive display of growth throughout the game, while Bethany remains relatively the same, and instead just battles depression. Carver has goals beyond Hawke, and he isn't afraid to challenge Hawke and have his own opinions too. Even if he comes off as an annoying asshole at times, he still is his own person, and he comes together for Hawke in the end, if you do Nathaniel's quest and Legacy. And they even learn to be cordial with one another.
All right, not a bad pick, Barry, but as for me, I have to give it to Bethany. She is a sweetheart and an incredibly lovable character, while also being a badass mage, whether she is in the Circle or the Wardens. However, I already made my feelings clear. Bethany belongs in the Circle. She not only supports her fellow mages and uplifts their spirits in the gallows, but she also doesn't have the massive battle of depression that she gets by becoming a warden fated to die in the deep roads. Bethany is not at all a soldier, and she does her best work supporting Hawke, our mother, our fellow mages. That's where she really belongs. And even if we side with the Templars, she will take a stand and fight against us to help some of the mages escape, which shows she isn't just a blind follower of Hawke. Plus, I like her flirty relationship with Sebastian. In both the DLCs, it's really cute and is a sort of will they, won't they situation.
All right, fair points, boys. I am going to have to side with Joe on Bethany. Not only is she cute and she has enlarged assets during Varric's exaggerated opener, but she is a far better sibling than Carver, who just whines and complains about everything Hawke does. I already get enough backtalk in real life from my wife and kids. I don't need that from my fantasy siblings, you know? Unlike Joe, however, I have to give my favorite background to the Wardens for Bethany. Sure, it makes her sad, but it's also something that you can work through and gives her a personality that no longer is her blindly following Hawke, but still having a great deal of care for him as well. Plus, her original personality still shines through in the end, which means it's a fair sacrifice to have more based Wardens continuing the path of POTUS.
All right, that's a good point, Donald, and while I don't know too much about either sibling, but I do know a few things about Wardens. And I know that your brother took joining the Wardens in stride, and he seems like an accomplished warrior. He seems like just the type of soldier that the Wardens need to throw at the Darkspawn and help control the Blight, so it doesn't infect more people or more base dwarves. So my choice would be for our brother Carver to join the Grey Wardens.
All right, good points all around, boys and viewers. Let us know your favorite Hawke sibling in Dragon Age 2, and your preferred fate for them as well. Our editor reads everyone, and his favorite will be featured next episode, but with that all being said, Donald, mind featuring our favorite comment from last episode?
Sure thing, Barack. Our featured comment comes from Slinky343, who sided with my choice of Mommy Morrigan being the best cameo in Dragon Age, along with many other based viewers. Your favorite line, being where she confronts Flemeth and says she won't be the mother you were to me, was a really keen choice. I think it gets all of us in the heartstrings too. And her growth, both personally and in her looks, is absolute peak. Thank you for your input on the ending slides as well. Our editor is taking that into strong consideration. As always, thank you for your comment and can't wait to hear who your favorite sibling choice is. Back to the game though, what the hell? How did the Queen of the Black Marsh get summoned to the Free Marches?
Welcome to the final stage of the High Dragon fight. Donald, he turns into a High Dragon, which has the exact same AI as the dragon we fought last episode. Except this one gets a unique mass firestorm spell, which deals way more damage.
That's true, which is why I, Donald, bring Aveline with me, since she is still fully equipped with fire resistance runes and an equipment. And now we have Uzera's Tooth, which makes Hawke almost immune to fire damage too, so we should be fine to finish this fight. It's ironic that this is the easiest of the 3 stages, since he doesn't summon any reinforcements besides the occasional rage demon. It's just your squad versus a dragon wizard, who loves casting spells.
I like when Dragon Age makes the dragons a little more intelligent, like in Dungeons and Dragons. In those games, dragons are smarter than humans and can cast all kinds of spells, makes their interactions way more nuanced than in Skyrim, where they are just like flying pests that wander into towns like a drunken bear.
I feel like you really just wanted to complain about Skyrim there, George, rather than give writing tips for Dragon Age. It's kind of insane that a god of pestilence turns into a dragon and that somehow nerfs it. This thing should have really had the healing factor with the orbs like the Queen of the Black Marsh or something. Maybe even had some funny Anders dialogue where he gets PTSD fighting this thing again. Also, what are those trap levers for? Do they work on the boss fight?
Good eye, Donald. Yes, unlike his mage form, you can goad the dragon over to one of the 2 sides of the fort, then flip the lever to chunk his health down. Even on Nightmare difficulty 5 to 6, uses of the traps can kill off the boss. But it requires a little bit of luck. But for now, though, I am going to just trust in our ice staff and fire resistance to take this big girl out. We are so close already to the end.
Sort of reminds me of that scene in Skyrim where you capture that black dragon to interrogate for Alduin's location.
All right, 2 goddamn Skyrim references is definitely pushing it, boys. We need to back up before the viewers get any ideas. What's the reward for killing this 3-stage mage, Boss Obama?
For good work getting us back on track, George. In addition to over 9,000 experience, we get 2 pretty good pieces of jewelry, the Ring Ichor. And the Amulet Smite. Ichor gives you increased attack, stamina regeneration, reflects basic attacks back at the enemy, making it the perfect ring for 2-hander warriors like Carver and Fenris. The Smite is a little less interesting, giving increased magic and elemental damage, but it isn't bad for an elemental mage like Bethany or Anders.
Seems like both the items are really good for the Hawke siblings, which is definitely not a coincidence.
Well, considering you 2 haven't seen these guys since episode 5, it makes sense they get something extra in the items department. Anyways, I won't give you an easy money, Obama, but good job killing the secret boss.
Yeah, good work tying up with me, Barack. Now get ready to start sweating for the rest of the episode while I complete this boss and this dungeon deathless. It's time to kill the second Carta boss in our series and bring them back to extinction where they belong.
Oh boy, my future sight is already going crazy when you said that.
This guy here is probably the first person to drink Darkspawn blood. He just has higher endurance than the rest of the Carta dwarves. This whole fight feels like a massive reference to Origins. The armor he is wearing is the Dwarven Noble armor. And the axe he is wielding is a variant of Fate's Edge. He has a named Bronto, and just like Jarvia before him, he has a reinforced location filled with traps he takes advantage of during the fight.
Well, shit, when you put it that way, I am half expecting this dude to use Shadow Clone Jutsu and pull out the archery skills just for old time's sake. Also, I only brought Anders with us because Barack and Justice said we are going into the deep roads after this, and he has a lot of unique dialogue. If it was up to me, I would have brought my beautiful pirate queen with me for the extra dialogue.
Trust me, you don't want to do that. If you brought Isabella and had Carver in the party, they would be flirting nonstop. And you would be sitting in the cuck chair for a second time in this series and back-to-back too. It's a distraction to the dark side you don't need, especially since you're already getting clapped up by the traps as is.
Hop off my nuts, Joe. That break I took letting Obama play fucked me over. Now I need to warm up again. I still have 2 healers with revives now, which if you look at the tier list is overpowered, so we should be fine. I didn't expect Carver to be taken out by one whole trap, but I guess here we are.
Well, why don't we go over a few super thanks while we let this fight play out. Joe, you want to go first with the Solace donations?
Sure thing, Barry. Well, you guys all went insane last episode as you heard about the $200 donation record and decided that you really needed to tie with that immediately. So thank you to Robert Wadsworth with the $200 donation and $20 donation, respectively, to your favorite egg. This is an insane amount of support, and you are keeping Solace still close in competition, even with all the Josie fans that have come down with the big wallets. From all of us here, we thank you for your support, and I'm wishing you the best of luck for your chosen waifu, my man.
Good work, Joe. Looks like we have time for one more shout out. Here we have a original big wallet donator coming out again with another record high donation. Thank you to Joe Million for the 200 donation for Mommy Cassandra. I appreciate the nickname now too, Barry Blast. Is definitely still rooting for Mommy Cassandra, although if someone else wins, I will be happy with the viewers' support all the same. I see we are also like-minded in loving the Zevran cameo in 2, jumping out of your chair meeting him again is the most based action you can take while playing this game. Thank you as always for this huge support and good luck in the waifu wars.
We still have a few super thanks to get through, but we should probably focus back up on the gameplay because Donald is burning the kitchen down once again by electing to challenge the dwarf leader to a 1 versus 1, while our good boy sits in the corner and gets pelted by arrows.
Donald, this is looking really bad here. You know you still have a mythal grenade. You should probably go ahead and use that on Anders or Carver to finish up this fight here. You can't solo the dwarf base.
All right, everyone, hop off here. Look how weak the boss is. If I can just kill him and then bomb the rest of the Carta back to the Exalted Age, I will finish this on my own.
Yeah, Donald, you are not me.
God damn it, these rigged-ass dwarves! Fuck!
Hand the keys to justice, baby 5 deaths. Donald is back. The meme is alive.
Fuck that, hand the keys to justice. I can handle this on my own. I am a grown man.
Okay, needlessly rude. But if you're not going to tag me in here, at least pull a Obi-Wan and get to some goddamn high ground with Varric and my handsome game counterpart. Those traps really tore you a new one.
All right, Donald, getting some high ground and improving your positioning. I like what I am seeing so far. Getting both Anders and Varric as far away from the traps as possible is your path to victory. Good work.
Thanks, Obama. What can I say? After just one death, I've learned their moves and improved.
Are you goddamn serious right now, Orange Man?
All right, good to see Trump cooking again, boys. Back to the death discussion, though I'm lost on who's ahead. Donald died 3 times in the deep roads and once against the dwarf, and Obama died 1 time to the dragon mage. What is the score looking like now for this death competition?
Good segue, George. So right now I have 3 deaths in the series. Barry has 4 deaths thanks to the secret boss, and Donald has 5 deaths. However, if we are talking about total deaths, which does matter in terms of who is going to close up the series by playing Trespasser, then Donald has reached double digits with 10 deaths.
Donald, it feels important to note that if you die one more time in this series, you are going to surpass your 5 deaths from Dragon Age Origins. It's time to lock in here.
Yeah, well, Joe and you surpassed your total deaths in your 1st and 2nd episodes, respectively. So why don't you fuck off? I am not dying a 6th goddamn time in this series. I had a small hiccup with this rigged-ass dwarf, but I recovered, and as soon as he is done, I can clean up with the rest of the squad.
Poor Varric guy hasn't gotten a chance to shine much this episode in terms of combat. I think he used up all of his narrator hacks in the last 2 episodes where he carried Jobin on Hawke after he went down. Now it just feels like his heart just isn't in this fight. Maybe he is getting too old now.
I doubt it. Bro has at least another good 10 years in him. He probably just has a small mental debuff having to kill his friend earlier in the dungeon and needs some time to grieve. I'm sure after we get closer to the dramatic ending, Varric will lock back in here. Also good work holding on to the revived Donald. But you know, if you used a different elemental staff on Anders, the damage would have been far better, right?
Yeah, and if you used a different tool in the Middle East, maybe you could get off without needing to see an explosion first, so focus on yourself. Well, for the second time in this series, we wiped the goddamn Carta out of the map. Maybe this time they can stay down.
I doubt it. The Carta is going to come right back up in Inquisition, especially if we were playing a Dwarf Inquisitor. We just took out the Kirkwall and Orzhammer branches of the Carta. The Carta are like rabbits. You take out one and three more come out of the ground.
Looks like the boss had a shiny on him and the game is going to force the corpse looting this time.
What is this? I can feel it inside me.
Why the hell did Hawke have to say it like that?
Well, we got the Hawke key, which is a shitty weapon now, but can become the strongest weapon in our arsenal once we upgrade it a few times. Thankfully, we are a Mage Hawke because the key only looks good for two-handed warriors, and Mage is the small variants of longsword. Dagger and longbow look pretty strange in my opinion.
Just another common two-hander W for Dragon Age 2 also. What kind of trap sandwich is this? They really locked us behind an iron gate before the boss fight, then gave us an orange Fanta portal for good measure.
Well, welcome to the Deep Roads for the second time, Donald, this time as a final endgame tower sequence. We can't go back to Kirkwall, but we do at least get a storage chest and a few times to change out our party if we need it.
I don't think Mark of the Assassin gets the same leeway that Legacy gets in terms of tools and instant teleports. But we do have actual shops, which I guess can be just as good, if not better. Seems like BioWare was still finding out what they wanted their DLC to be in Dragon Age 2 was the awkward middle child before Inquisition.
I died my way into the Wardens, and you punched your way to Champion. We are esteemed.
Go with your strength.
Carver really said he died his way into the Wardens. He's such a damn drama queen. Davith and Meharry died their way into the Wardens. Your ass got a little sick with Darkspawn taint and got saved by the healer Robe and Hawke. Also, what the hell are these, the new Darkspawn dogs?
Those would be the new Genlocks, which eventually got a full makeover in Inquisition. My theory on these things is simply the deeper you go in the deep roads, the Darkspawn get much larger and change relative to their environment. It's also possible because of Corypheus that the blight is simply more intense here and changed, which causes the broodmothers to produce slightly different Darkspawn.
These big boys are definitely massive steps away from the skinny zombies they turn into in Veilguard. I wonder if these are still related to the original Darkspawn created by the Elven Pantheon, or if they were changed by nature over time to become the massive monsters we are fighting now.
Holy shit.
Oh, wow.
Why are you all looking at me like that was something I said incorrect or not accurate to the lore? It's been a month or two, but I still remember Veilguard pretty accurately.
No, George, that was all completely accurate. I think we are just taken by surprise by you actually understanding a thing or two about lore. When just last year you thought this game was about dragons aging, and you were calling Darkspawn green goblins and shit like that. I think we all kind of forgot that you played Veilguard extensively, and that it's your favorite.
God damn it. Just when I thought I had another president who cares more about the memes and combat than the yapping, and now George comes out with a lore theory which can rival Obama. I just want to play the goddamn video game and shoot the shit, not work on my doctoral thesis.
Well, that just sounds like a skill issue on your part, Donald. I am all about the lore roleplay. I just don't understand like 90% of it in Dragon Age's case. But once we play Baldur's Gate 3, be prepared for D&D lore that will turn you on, but you can still fall asleep too as needed.
I severely regret teaching you skill issue a year ago, George. But holy shit, this is the first goddamn Darkspawn fight, and Hawke is already getting his ass eaten by the steroid locks. This is going to be a long goddamn dungeon. Why didn't anyone warn me?
We warned you in excessive detail. Just be thankful the mod we installed to have these guys appear as early as the Deep Roads expedition in Act 1 didn't work. We installed it, but for some reason the files didn't work properly since it was installed manually and not compatible with Nexus. We were kind of in a rush when we started this series, but rest assured, in Inquisition we plan on installing several mods and taking our time to make sure everything works.
Well, you survived the first Darkspawn fight by the skin of your ass, Donald. Now it's time to learn a little bit more about demons. And more importantly, Malcolm Hawke, finally.
Yeah, like the fact our dad apparently has our exact same voice just pitched down an octave.
This is far less of a problem if you are playing female Hawks, since you could be forgiven for not even noticing it. But as a male Hawke, I have to side with George. This is taking me out of the immersion. I mean, Carver is asking why that voice sounds familiar when it's straight up Hawke's voice. It could have just been a recording of us at this point.
So Hawke's dad was basically one of the only mages in Kirkwall that isn't blood mage scum good to hear. It's nice we finally get to learn something about our dad. It feels like every bit of family drama we learned about has been on our mom's side.
I mean, that's to be expected when you're born in Ferelden and taken into Kirkwall when you are 9 years old. Not much family ties to be had in Malcolm's case, but his origin story is still worthy of looking into. Not only did he escape the circle and risk being hunted by Templars for his chosen waifu, but he also ended up working with the Wardens to secure the safety of Leandra and Hawke.
It's just a shame that these side quests don't really do our father justice or really enough justice on any of the lore points they cover. Like, we don't really know why our father had to imprison these demons here.
Maybe Malcolm had to have the demons summoned to reinforce the seals with blood magic, which summoned the demons unintentionally. And then when the demons were out and about in the prison, Malcolm sealed them, since he doesn't let any demon go freely.
Well, Malcolm himself just said the Wardens used the demons, so I imagine you are somehow completely right, George? Good shit. I'm still sad you are turning into a goddamn nerd like the liberals, but at least you are still hating on demons and blood magic, so I can get behind that.
Well, I don't hate magic with the same hate boner you do, but I do think magic needs regulation, and the demons can lick the Texas toast between my cheeks.
While we're stuck down here, Meredith could be burning down the circle.
Now, all that being said, while I am learning the lore, who the hell is this Meredith character that Blondie won't stop yapping about?
Oh, fuck, let me tell you, George. She is not only a woman who has never done anything wrong, but she is also the holiest example of a paladin that Kirkwall has ever seen. And
All right, don't forget to clean her off when you are done, Donald. George didn't need all of that. She is just the Knight Commander of the Templar Order in Kirkwall, and one of the antagonists of this game, as we are about to face off in just a few episodes.
At least this one was built by mages.
Anders really said he wouldn't mind a prison as long as it was built by mages. That's an interesting cuck-like way to look at things. Also, look out, boys. Looks like we have another Rook situation coming up. Looks like we interrupted Bro while he was searching for buried treasure.
oh God, we talked to one diseased person in the deep roads, and now all the poor people are coming out of the damn walls to touch and talk to me. Go away, I don't have any change.
Dwarves do like to diggy hole, I agree, my good friend.
Hey guys, put some more respect on the former Warden Commander.
POTUS?
No, goddammit, not POTUS. He is the Warden Commander of the Free Marches, not Ferelden. Larius was actually one of the youngest Wardens in history to ever receive the title of Warden Commander. He is also the only person we know about to ever even hold the title of Warden Commander of the Free Marches. Usually Warden Commander has been a title only discussed about between Orleans and Ferelden, while other areas are more heavily dictated by the First Warden themselves, something that is heavily influenced by what we hear in-game. Both Stroud and Nathaniel say they were taking their orders direct from the First Warden.
Are there really no other Warden Commanders from different regions in lore? I know the books have a hard-on for describing the Orlesian Grey Wardens, but there are over a dozen regions that Warden Commanders could exist in.
There is a Warden Commander of Antiva who fought with Garahel in the novel The Last Flight, but that was in the Exalted Age over 400 years ago. All truthfully, we don't know exactly what happened. But Duncan does mention a steep decline in the Warden's popularity before the Fifth Blight, so maybe having too many Warden Commanders for different regions wasn't practical. But Larius was Warden Commander until about 20 years ago. And we can find a codex up ahead that says maintaining this prison is the Warden Commander of the Free Marches' job for centuries, so it's more likely there are more commanders.
All right, that was a great lore yap, but that didn't really tell me what the hell this guy was doing here. He was Warden Commander 20 years ago, so that means he is on his calling now, right? Why the hell did they send him to the Blood Mage prison? And why isn't he dead? If Darkspawn are still breathing, you better start swinging swords until you can't swing a sword anymore. Also, he can magically tell I have the key despite not having the key equipped. Not a question, just a weird observation.
I'm pretty sure Bro was doing his calling like normal until this thing started calling for him and affecting his mind. Hell, I think he hasn't been consumed by the Blight yet in part because of his magic. He is sort of stuck in limbo until someone takes Corypheus out or kills him. Also, Anders is surprisingly quiet about meeting this guy. You would think he would have more to say than Carver, given Anders has a few years on him in terms of Grey Warden experience.
Actually, I don't think that's really true anymore. Carver is a better Grey Warden than Anders is by miles. Anders was a Grey Warden a year, at most Carver has been a Warden for over 6 years. Yeah, sure, Anders might have a better resume, but Carver has more experience in lore now by miles.
I don't know if that's an insult for Anders or a compliment for Carver, but either way, I don't like this line of dialogue, and just like this dude, I am going to shamble on over to the next quest point.
Our brother is definitely underselling how complicated things can get here. I mean, didn't he almost die last time he was in the deep roads with us?
He did, which is yet another notch on the trauma belt that is Hawke's life, if you think about it.
Is my burden. You'd think with your lineage you'd understand. Your whining.
There's a funny bit of dialogue where if you take Carver in Act 1, he will point out why we don't just take treasure from this expedition in the deep roads. Why do we need Bartrand's expedition at all?
That's actually a really good point, and one of the few base things Carver has really said, if I'm being honest. Also, what fresh hell is this? Is that a goddamn pride demon with a lava chroma?
Looks like we woke the demon up a little early. The big guy needs a minute to figure out where he is before he can really fight us. I guess you could say he needs a warm-up, right, boys?
Yeah, that was cornier than a farm in Indiana, George. In fact, that is probably the closest thing to damage I have felt in this fight so far. Looks like he is finally ready to at least attack us now, so maybe he is finally ready to fight now, like a normal demon.
I just realized you are using mostly fire damage to fight the lava demon, and it is still somehow doing damage that just confirms that this first lock demon is going straight into a D-tier fight. I can't even give any notes here other than pay attention to the abilities this thing uses. They will come up again later, possibly more improved in the later fights.
Yeah, I don't know why they needed to do a ramp up in difficulty. For these seal fights, it's not like any of them are more difficult than the Carter fight that came before these seals. It would have been cool if each of these seal fights had a special mechanic that you needed to learn to beat them. And then all three mechanics came together for the final fight of this DLC.
You would think each of these would be a different element to represent the three elements added on to the fight in each stage. But that's not the case at all. It feels like the seal fights and the final fight are completely unrelated.
I have to say, even if the fire skin is goofy looking, I still prefer when these guys had legs. Now they just hover off the ground like some damn Star Wars droids. Also, look, our goblin friend came back for us boys now that the seal is broken.
First seal, hung chill, hung, hack, sack, hackers, Greg, Hussa.
Why is he convulsing on the floor like that? I'm not concerned. I'm just genuinely annoyed because I am trying to learn the lore here and it's distracting.
Hey Joe, do you need a break or something? Because your outbursts are getting worse than when we played Dead Space. And if you need a moment, we all understand.
What? No. I am fine, boys. This is just getting good, trust me. Donald gets to upgrade the Hawke key with its first upgrade. I am excited to see what he picks since I get to use it next episode.
All right, thank you, Sleepy. Well, if we are fighting through Darkspawn through most of this DLC, and this is one of the last few challenges in our series, I might as well fulfill my pyromancy tendencies and choose fire damage. It's the best element anyway, according to the tier list.
Not a bad pick. It will be useful against almost everything here, although I am not too sure how much it is going to be useful against the enemies of the second DLC. But we can cross that bridge later. For now, looks like Larius is getting a little more aware of his surroundings, even if he is still being weird about it.
I think that confirms whatever is going on with him is tied to the seals, and the more we break, the more control he will have over himself again. Since he went from thinking he was a darkspawn to remembering he used to be a person.
Now we are bringing up the calling again, too. Between the Branos and now this, it really feels like we are going back to some of the more classic lore points in this DLC that we haven't talked about since Origins.
Well, to be perfectly fair to the later games, the calling is something that is mentioned in every entry. I think Dragon Age 2 was the only game where we ignored the calling, since Anders is too focused on robe oppression to be bothered with his duty to kill some darkspawn in a tunnel.
Nothing like some good old-fashioned justice to keep you distracted from the spawn goop. Who needs to die in the deep when you can go out with a bigger bang?
Oh, hey, Justice, you know I am still not used to how heavy you boys got into roleplay of this game. I get getting into character, but you boys let the character get into you.
Please don't say it like that, George. But yes, Justice does have a point. It's not like Anders has to worry about the blight killing him when he has a spirit forcing him to do more dangerous shit every year. I know that might be a writing excuse, but it's a genuinely valid point. I will give them that.
Even if it is an excuse, Anders is far and beyond ideal warden anymore. I think we covered that.
You favor him. Corypheus calls.
Well, looks like Bro is done telling us any useful information. So we are going to have to go further into the dungeon to learn more. Also, Anders, I know what you mean. I hate when the voices get louder in my head, too.
Oh, okay, so no one else is reacting to that statement, so I guess we are all going to play pretend right now instead.
Hey, Donald, just a heads up, there's a giant fucking darkspawn ahead. This guy is gonna test your Dark Souls knowledge.
Holy shit, that is a giant goddamn spawn. He's like, if Hulk Hogan fucked a goblin, and this is his weirdly buff spawn. My gamer instincts, however, are telling me to get behind it immediately and stay behind this thing at all times before it does some Charger bullshit.
Good instincts. Donald, this thing, is the most annoying of the new darkspawn types and deals the most damage too, but just like an ogre, if you stay behind it, you can actually cause its charge to stick to the wall.
Yep, I definitely remember these guys from Inquisition and I reacted accordingly. No need to backseat me, Obama. Now that I recognize their Inquisition patterns, I am locked in on my own.
Oh, for fuck's sake, stop not crediting me, you orange bastard.
All right, I don't know why you needed to bring that up so specifically, Donald. We all know you love Inquisition. But good work taking out the first big boy. Get ready for a few more coming up in a minute.
Oh shit, but first we have a brief intermission of zombies and a spirit barrier to give us that steel cage trap experience in our Dragon Age setting. You love to see it, boys. How are you going to play a close quarters match, Donald?
Don't worry about me, George. I'm not trapped in here with them. They are trapped in here with Hawke. Well, now that this key has more than a little bit of electricity damage, it's time to test it out on a few Walking Dead boys. I have to admit, customizing this key to my own liking with my own buffs does make me far more partial to this thing than I otherwise would. It's just how I like making my own weapons and enchantments in Elder Scrolls games, rather than using a pre-built weapon.
Just like Vigilance, I imagine the Hawke key being an early form of a customizable weapon in the Dragon Age series, and was likely the inspiration for weapon crafting in Inquisition, since the stats of the Hawke key are all stats you can get on custom weapons in Inquisition.
Also, Inquisition took the Skyrim method of weapon crafting, huh? Not too surprising for the time The Witcher 3 did the same thing. Which crafting system do you boys think is the best one, though?
Oh Lord, we are not going to get into that debate right now. You are trying to get some people killed asking intense gaming questions like that. Minecraft gang rise up, though. Maybe we should focus instead on how Donald is getting his ass rammed by a darkspawn emissary, just as the prophecies foretold.
Yeah, I wasn't about to jinx it, but you have already revived Anders and Varric before, and now even your tank is down. This is a terrible look, Donald.
Ref, do something.
All right, all of you, hop off. The two wardens being down are not cause for concern as long as the two main characters, Hawke and Varric, are alive. We are big chilling, trust me. See, I am going to give him a potion. Now we are perfectly fine. Wait, hold on, bro. Had another fireball. Shit, Varric, no!
Well, Donald, you lost our base dwarven narrator, so now we don't have the storyboard hacks anymore. And it's a 3 versus 1 with Hawke on cooldowns. What's your plan here?
Hang on a moment. Just let me think for a second.
Unpause, Donald.
It's time to prove to everyone that you can overcome your mage demons, or if you are cursed, to always live in fear of anyone who can cast a light spell.
All right, you know what? Fuck this. If you can't beat them fairly, then it's time to beat them at their own game. Justice, take the wheel. Pokeball, go.
For the last goddamn time, I am not a Pokemon. I am a spirit of righteousness. All right, you fat fuck. We can talk about this later. For now, I have an agreement to uphold. Looks like, despite you never shutting up about mages, and them making up 15% of the population, but 95% of demon summonings, you forgot to focus on this one and let him party wipe your team uninterrupted. First off, let's get Carter out here so we are on even ground. And now, I am going to use our bombs and horror spells to keep this Camino-ass darkspawn distracted.
You know, I hate to backseat a violent spirit of terrorism, but couldn't you just use that other Mythal's favorite bomb over there and get Carver back to clean up this fight quicker?
Your wasteful liberal ass would want to use our only other bomb, but after Obama over here used our first one on the secret boss fight, we only have one left, which we should save for the final fight in a tight situation. Plus, I'm confident we don't need it. Just watch me cook here.
Well, it definitely wasn't a pretty fight by any means, but you still got it done justice, so good work. We should cut ahead here, give Donald a chance to regain control of his body, and then move on to the second demon seal for the Malcolm's Will quest.
Oh shit, hey, it's those rock demon things that killed Donald in episode 5. It's good to see they found a new home after we killed their mom and dad and left them stranded.
Oh fuck, not these goddamn things again. My heart can't handle this. Justice, I need a round 2 immediately.
Phrasing, please. But Donald, stop tagging Justice in at the first sign of conflict. You can definitely handle these guys on your own there. There's no boss this time with the death laser, I promise.
Yeah, I am glad they at least acknowledge the rock wraiths exist in the DLC, even if this is the last time we can even see them again. It's kind of strange that this could be the first time we even see them in-game if we did this quest in Act 1. But they didn't account for a voice line or two questioning what these things even are.
That's fair. But it seems like there were already so many unique voice lines depending on when you did this mission in a playthrough. So it's understandable if a few things fall through the cracks. It's just a limitation at the end of the day. Also looks like we have some more Malcolm Hawke tragic backstory, boys. Let's hear it.
Call me biased, but Malcolm taking the extra step to lock up the demons and saying magic should serve the best in me gives the impression that Malcolm was somewhat a loyalist of the Circle and its values, and that he only left to be with our mom. Maybe there are a few good ones out there.
A few good ones is crazy, but I doubt Malcolm was a loyalist given his statement there. It looks like he is a member of Equitarians, which promote a moderate and popular viewpoint that mages must use their abilities in a responsible and ethical manner, regardless of chantry law. Equitarians believe that all mages should help people and follow a set of rules and ideals. They are the largest faction by far, so this would make sense that Malcolm would be a part of them.
I do love the little sibling bonding situation we have going on here. It sucks that the only time we get some father time is through this quest. I know Dragon Age fans could use a stronger father presence in their life, like Malcolm Hawke.
Also, here's the last new Darkspawn variant, the Herlock Alpha, and he has a damn Dark Souls club. This should be good.
His dumb little hat and disproportionate mace makes him look like a weird Darkspawn paladin, which is an insult and disgrace to the paladin mains of the world. So this death is for all of you, especially if you are playing a paladin in Baldur's Gate 3 while listening to this.
That's one of those very specific shout-outs. Donald, I doubt we have someone fitting that bill. Also, once the spawn are all dead, go ahead and grab the crown in the side room. It's the first of 4 pieces we need for the altar quest for a decent amulet, and some gold. Also, a final bit about Hawke's father while we finish up our original side quest there was originally going to be a farther back origin story, depending on your class, where a mage Hawke would undertake the harrowing under Malcolm's supervision, or a warrior and rogue Hawke would learn swordplay from him instead. It was cut to keep a more consistent flow in the prologue.
Yeah, it sucks that we didn't get a second fade sequence in the game. But right now we need to focus on more important things like freeing this innocent desire demon and bartering with her for her freedom, if you catch my meaning.
Hell yes, that's my boy Joe. Never give up hope that the desire demons will come back and give us the demon snoo we all needed.
Both of you perverts need to find God and stop simping over Satan with boobs and ass. That thing is the dictionary definition of a succubus, and those things always end in the dude getting screwed in the wrong way.
I appreciate the effort, George, but trying to convince them to ignore the desire demon is like trying to convince Cookie Monster to not eat cookies.
I appreciate the comfort, Obama. But don't act like you aren't a degenerate, too. I still remember that Muscle Mommy script you handed me before our D&D session last month. And you're the reason these two are even playing Dragon Age, so you need God, too.
Wait, our session last month was when you finished playing Aveline's Act 2 companion quest. Any correlation, Barry?
No, of course not. You are misremembering things, Joe. They are completely unrelated. Why don't we just focus on our final thoughts on this quest? And on Carver's character, too, since this scene here is his last big scene.
Best news I have heard all day. Not having to hear from this condescending asshole anymore after this episode, but since this is his last scene, I guess I can give him 1 ounce of praise. He is a shitty sibling, but a very above average warden and a pretty good soldier. Plus, he became slightly less annoying in Act 3 than in the first 2 acts.
I would think you would like Carver more given the fact he is a Templar enjoyer who wouldn't mind nut-kicking a few mages. Although I have to say he has certainly toned down on his mage hatred over the years, I guess in big part since it no longer looms over his shoulders like it used to now that we don't live together.
I guess the warden's looking pretty good right about now.
Carver, as a warden, actually will prefer siding with the mages over the Templars, and will be disappointed in Hawke for not siding with them, same as Bethany. But since they aren't loyal to a side as much in the Wardens, they will join you either way. I have to admit this is the one scene where Bethany gives more personality rather than Carver, since Bethany reflects on her training with Malcolm more. Although I will take Carver slowly learning to not challenge his brother on everything as progress.
Good. Can we just... I want to get this over with.
There's nothing more important than family, and I am glad Hawke and Carver are slowly realizing that. Also, holy shit, it's an ogre. I think that is the first one we have seen in the entire Deep Road section.
Well, welcome to Charge City population. Donald, better duck your head, big guy. I like to imagine there's not as many ogres here because the other buff Darkspawn bullied the ogre out of business. I mean, between the ogre and this shield asshole, I would give it to the shield guy, bro, at least has tools.
That's an interesting lore point, Joe. I can see that, as Darkspawn are always beefing with each other, mainly for territory when an archdemon isn't around. Although I can't help but think this was just a game-balancing compromise, since the new Darkspawn are already beyond tanky. Adding an ogre to the mix would just be overwhelming and make every fight tedious.
Now bring them on. I can take on each of these bastards on at once, no matter how tanky these big bastards get. As long as I have this overpowered class and gravity magic, I can't fail. That being said, these bastards are stun-locking me hard, and I wish I could pull some high IQ strategy to just make these bastards fall off the cliff with their dumb charges. Fuck these charge stun locks.
Not so nice when you're the one being stun locked by charges. Now you know how I felt during the Aeroshock fight. Hell, the shield asshole even ignores the gravity spells when charging, even though that would be the perfect counter to avoid charge-based attacks.
The amount of Vanguard mains in the Deep Roads is too damn high. I am already not looking forward to fighting these things again in Inquisition. I hate to say it, but at this point, just give me the damn pride demons that sit around and let me hit them and the blood mages that one shot me back in Kirkwall. I am ready for a change now that it's been an hour of this Darkspawn orgy.
Oh damn, Donald, there is nothing hotter than type diversity. And change, you have a point. At least after this fight here should be a little more interesting. than the last Seal Demon. This one actually has shadow clones, this time in different elemental attacks.
For shadow clones, these things sure do take a lot of hits. It's nice that they invented the mirror image spell for Baldur's Gate 3. But I think they misunderstood the gimmicks that make that spell viable, even though they have different health bars to them and they drop after the main target takes enough damage. This Pride Demon is a little too smooth-brained to be prideful, in my opinion.
Well, the next fight coming up does a better job at giving every target the same health bar, so I imagine this wasn't an oversight. I think the trick for this fight was supposed to trick the AI party members that don't have good tactics into dividing the damage more evenly. That and pressuring your backline more with the extra bodies.
Not a bad point. I doubt this was an oversight, to be honest. Another point to consider is that if you are playing on console, the health bars are harder to differentiate from.
I feel like an underhanded part of this series is shitting on the console port since 3 of you are PC Master Race pilled. I know we do all our videos on PC, but rest assured that's just a convenience factor. Every Dragon Age can be played on consoles, and all of them are just as valid ports and offers their own strengths, and hell, Veilguard is even more fun on PlayStation because of the controls, and you get the game for free. All of this praise, though, is excluded from Origins. If you play Origins on console, you are either a masochist or you are God's strongest soldier. There is no in-between. Anyways, boys, down goes the second seal, and that means our second weapon upgrade too. I am feeling generous, so I was thinking we could all take a shot at the upgrade choices. So you want to choose this one, Obama?
Yeah, sure thing, Donald. Most of these are all good picks, except for the 2 drain stats, since they are just not as effective statistically as raw damage. I would have to say, based on how we play, to go for attack speed, since there is no attack speed cap in 2, and double haste buff, along with increased attack speed, is going to greatly increase our damage.
Second seal line, second. He is coming, he is here.
Hey, Min-Maxers, this has been a great math episode, but Joe is currently doing somersaults across the Oval Office floor like a freshly hooked Michigan bass.
Yeah, let me go ahead and practice some deep breathing while you talk to Larius a second time, Donald. And he is about to give us some interesting lore on the awakened Darkspawn.
Yeah, same shit, different day. As much as I hate talking to this ghoul again, I have to admit, the lore behind the Architect and Corypheus is some of my favorite in the series. They are basically the perfect creatures to hate. They are blood mage, Darkspawn, with cartoon villain plans to rule the world. The roast of the Architect with facts and logic is still one of my career highlights in this series.
Oh yeah, the Architect, isn't that the guy from the books that tried to blight the whole world to create equality and then just decided to make Darkspawn? And the tentacle monster's sentient.
Yeah, it is, but how the hell did you know all of that, George, and give a whole spoon-fed lore? Summary, did you actually start playing the whole series when we weren't looking?
No, I don't have time for that with my D&D writing and rodeo classes, but I did watch your final episode of Awakening since my man Poe was a special guest here.
Well, looks like you are all caught up then, George. And just like the Architect, we need to take out this smart Darkspawn so he can stop giving all the Grey Wardens migraines and violent thoughts.
I brought Joe back with an extra dose of meds. By the way, boys, thanks for keeping the lore yaps hot for me while we were gone. Oh, also, despite Carver being the senior warden among our squad, he is flat out wrong about the Architect being the Wardens' only encounter. The Wardens have a historical encounter, found by the dwarves, where they encountered 3 tall Darkspawn that meet the description of the Sidereal, arguing over the failure of capturing the powers of the Golden City. According to the dwarves' account, one of them was killed by the other and then devoured.
Wait, can these things be killed by eating them? That seems both disgusting and an effective strategy.
The hungry hippo ass would want to find a way to eat an opponent to death.
Blow me, Joe.
I mean, it's possible. It's also possible only Corypheus has the Archdemon hacks. We know the game strongly implies the Architect is alive, but they never outright confirm it.
This is getting into a very metaphysical discussion here, boys, that's going to do more guesswork than I'm comfortable with. Why don't we focus instead on the fact? The little Dino lizards are back in the game for the first time.
Thanks for containing the apps to be more on topic. George, combat is always preferred. But why the hell are these little dinosaurs so goddamn tanky? Like tankier than the Pride Demons or roided out Darkspawn. Lizards eating Hawke's ass today was not on my Dragon Age 2 bingo card.
I have to admit, Donald getting a death from the Deep Stalkers wasn't on my bingo card either. The reason, though, you are struggling this hard is because the Hawke key deals fire damage as well as Anders' staff, and Deep Stalkers are immune to fire and weak to ice damage like all lizards in the Dragon Age series, Donald. Thankfully, the staff has multiple types of elemental damage, but this is entirely on you.
God damn it, I'm not changing out my weapons mid-fight, especially against some random fodder. Just because you are pissing me off, I am going to fight this whole dungeon now with the fire key. I don't care how many deep lizards come at me.
Hey, don't feel bad, Donald. These things are ambush predators, which according to the food chain are like the apex predator in the world. I mean, just look at Alien versus Predator. Both those things lay in wait and jump out.
Oh, damn, that does make me feel a bit better, George. Is that really true?
I am actually not sure. I basically just made it up to cheer you up a little and lock in. Did it work?
I mean, it was working until you said that. Now I just feel gullible and terrible. Now I finally know what Joe must feel like every day.
You're going through the loss of your party members left and right in this fight, so I will let that slide too. Well, while you stubbornly bash your head against the deep stalkers, Donald, do you want to go over the last round of super thanks for our current leaderboard holder, Josie?
Yeah, sure thing, Joe. I think I am finally in a spot where I can easily kill these lizard assholes. So we have 3 big donations for the Inquisition's hottest diplomat, Josephine. First, we have to shout out the biggest wallet, Zerkalda, with the $200 donation cashing in. Josephine, this is the second time in a row you've donated a record high donation, and we thank you tremendously for this kind of support that skyrocketed Josephine from 3rd to 1st place. We also have 100 European monies from our longest donator, Antidotazniemi, who we put towards Josie and Cuck in the Egg. But if you did want to split this evenly towards Cass and Josie, as the comment suggests, you can just let us know during the stream, because we know you are a loyal viewer of the premieres as well as a big dick donator, and we just want to acknowledge that. Finally, we have $75 from Corey Radcliffe, who has switched sides now from Cass to Josie with his biggest donation yet, which also acts as reparations for Joe's almost betrayal in Act 2. Thank you all for these insanely high donations, and good luck in the waifu wars, where all 3 of you stand currently in 1st place.
Good work showing your appreciation to our biggest supporters, Donald. But despite getting through all the donations, we still have lizards left to kill. Why don't we cut ahead here and get to something different, boys? We still have plenty of episode left after all, and I smell some base dwarven lore on the horizon.
Not a bad idea, George. We can go ahead and show the first note for the last side quest in this area, the Legion of the Dead quest to honor Varric's ancestor.
The Legion of the Dead, sent after Paragon Garen's heir.
Damn, so this body has been here all the way back in the Exalted Age that's during the events of the 4th Blight, right, Barry?
Yeah, you're right on the money, Joe. This means Paragon Garen came down here over 400 years ago. Although it was likely far after the 4th Blight, since the 4th Blight was so terrible it nearly consumed all of Thetis. And after the 4th Blight, the Darkspawn were so fully beaten that people believed they would never return, which seems like a perfect time for a Deep Roads expedition. Also, here's the 3rd artifact for the Doomit quest. The second one we forgot to show was right after the last Malcolm seal.
Oh boy, you have a puzzle up ahead, Donald. For a piece for a Grey Warden armor, this should be entertaining.
Oh, please, I can solve Dragon Age puzzles in my sleep. The presidential fitness exam said I could do puzzles meant for rocket scientists. So this does this and that does that.
Donald, I have seen you struggle with puzzles that simply involve solving basic math.
Donald, I can't be here all day. Just touch the bottom right torch, then the middle left torch, and boom, free armor.
Holy shit, Donald. How the hell did you guess the puzzle on your second guess? What kind of luck do you have?
Damn, Donald, I could have used your luck in my last physical. How the hell did you do that?
Well, you know, when you have gamed as long as I have, boys, you just start learning the patterns of all these puzzles. And like I said, the doctor said I was in peak mental health. This is absolute cinema.
Okay, that's 3 goddamn strikes, you orange fuck. You better watch your back and stand ready to square up.
All right, Donald, I am smelling red flags all over that last sentence. You said I have known you probably longer than these 2 from your golfing days. And this smells worse than a week-old fish.
George, any reason you are making a lot more fish metaphors lately? Usually you stick to Dungeons and Dragons jokes.
Yeah, fishing season is now, and it's just a calming pastime that helps get my creative writing juices flowing, you know what I mean.
Can I join you next time? I have been stuck trying to resolve a faction war in my book for a month now.
Of course, Obama, we are friends. You can always hop in long as you pay for your own flight down to Texas.
All right, you carp cucks, enough about fish. Let's watch me destroy another third-party fight in this Dragon Age game we are supposed to be talking about right now.
Not only is this a classic Dragon Age 2 third-party fight, but it's also a classic Deep Roads turf war where the goddamn Hellspawn spiders prove they are the true strongest predator in the Deep Roads, beating out the Deep Stalkers. And Darkspawn time and time again.
You guys have all been very nostalgic about the Deep Road so far this episode. What's that about anyway? Are you guys trying to restart another Origins playthrough or something? Even back in episode 5, you 3 were not nearly as nostalgic about dwarves and the Deep Roads.
No, George, it has nothing to do with it. It's more so just Legacy being not only a farewell for Hawke's story, but also a return to form from BioWare in terms of the writers. Unlike 2's base game, which was rushed, Legacy had far more time in the oven. And all of the writers returned to their strengths here, with one star shining slightly brighter than the others. The lead writer for Legacy was Jennifer Hepler, known throughout BioWare as the Queen of the Dwarves, where she wrote basically all the lore of Warhammer, as well as the entire Deep Roads quest in Orzammar. Now in 2, she was given the role of writing for Anders in the Mage Templar War, which she did an all right job, although her true element is dwarves. And Deep Roads, both of which are on full display here. The ecosystem from Origins has returned, the rich lore is back, and even the pacing is back and improved.
All of that yapping basically means that Legacy is a new and improved Deep Roads quest from Origins. A section that was not only peak for us in Origins, but also our longest running series, which is appropriate then, that this episode is going to be our longest episode in Dragon Age 2.
Queen of the Dwarfs definitely sounds like my type of girl boys and a perfect return to form for the series that lore nerds like you live for Obama Llama.
I still think Descent is far more hype, but seeing this mission under a tighter lore lens, thanks to you nerds, does help paint it in a far brighter light.
When the real murderer was caught, they tried to find him.
I really thought Anders was supposed to reference Sigrun in this quest after one of these notes. But I guess since Varric is in the party, he is going to take over the lore yaps in this quest.
I know you are just fiending for your first dwarven crush to be acknowledged, Obama. Believe me, we have all been there, but considering the healer robe and justice have fused, now maybe they just don't want to acknowledge the kleptomaniac?
Hey man, not cool doing a ritual of my rival god Dumat. I really thought we had something evil together, Joseph.
You know, I barely even realized we were doing a Dumat ritual that seems kind of blatantly evil, even if we got a shiny amulet out of it.
I guess it's confirmed evil when we just ended up praying to a thrall of the elven god that is long dead. A bigger question though, why does the healer robe disapprove of doing the ritual? Doesn't he love everything to do with Tevinter, like we just gave him a Tevinter amulet during my last episode and he loved it?
I assume he probably disapproves because Meryl does approve of this ritual, which means blood magic. Or demons are likely involved. Also, we cut ahead to the final note back, where we first fought the Deep Stalkers since we forgot to grab that one originally.
You mean you forgot, Obama? You are the resident wiki in the group?
Yeah, whatever, all of you shut the fuck up and give a base moment of silence to Varric's ancestor.
That was sweet, Hawke.
The rough translation of this prayer is, may you find great victory as you go into the dark, very similar to the farewell Caradon gives at the end of the Anvil quest. Anyways, George, can you use your DM powers and narrate this note here? We need to settle a debate.
Sure thing, Obama. As you come across a vacant but strangely intact campsite, a soul-weathered journal bearing a faded sigil of a griffin catches your eye. As you flip through the pages that are mostly damp or weathered by time, a single entry catches your eye as legible. The records say Corypheus has been trapped below the Vimmark since the days of the Tevinter Imperium. Can it be a coincidence that the Darkspawn besieged this area more fiercely than anywhere else on the surface of Thetis? Or that Kirkwall, the closest city, suffers from endless plagues of violence, lunacy, human sacrifice, and blood magic? If one studies Kirkwall's public records, it becomes hard to deny that some malevolent force has long shaped its history. Could a Darkspawn, even a powerful mage, have such influence even as it slumbers? As you put down the journal, the last seal echoes in the distance louder and more aggressive as you absorb this knowledge.
All right, so with that note laid out, I guess we should throw our lot in with what side we believe causes the spike in blood mages in Kirkwall and why it's such a shitty city. The two options being Corypheus or the Desire Demon Zebenkek that Obama killed in Act 2. While I would rather chew glass than give a blood mage any excuses, after reading that note, I have to side with the cause being Corypheus for increased blood mage activities. Not only has this game shown that his reach is wide enough to call all of the free marches, but it also gives a nice connection between two and Inquisition in the fact Cory has always been screwing things up for us. It would also explain him gathering an army of former Circle mages and turning them into blood mages.
Not a bad point, Donald, but I really can't help but think this note was added just to find this guy some more street cred as a major villain. I still think X is the root cause, not only because it ties into the lore that has been built since Origins, and elaborated further with the enigma of Kirkwall notes scattered around the game.
I'm with you here, Barry. The note not only felt like another checkbox to make this guy sinister, but a Desire Demon who originally taught blood magic to humans seems like the obvious Occam's razor, and was the original concept before the DLC was added.
Well, I am still siding with Corypheus being the reason for the increased use of blood magic. Not only because this letter made this guy sound insidious as hell, but also because I read the note for a reason and now I am perfectly swayed by my own narration.
All right, thank you for that, Georgian viewers. We know we already asked a comment question, but let us know your thoughts on what is the root cause for the surge in blood magic in Kirkwall.
Hey, Orange Man, just remember I gave you 3 strikes before it came to this. This is something you could have prevented.
What the hell is that supposed to mean? Are we playing baseball or some shit? Also, what's going on with Healer Robe Fall Back in Line, Soldier?
Bro has 7 years too much taint, and it's all about to come bite him in the ass. I wonder what this means in the matter of.
Hey Biden, I love you and I'm going to let you finish. But I have a few words to say about the Orange Man's performance today.
Holy Roleplay Immersion Batman the Game characters are actively challenging you to square up based on choices.
Hold on, this isn't right.
Everything is right about this, you Oompa Loompa. So first off, this big bastard completely forgot about the type matchup chart, and I had to remind him to switch staffs at the start of the episode. That's not even talking about the countless times I gave him a heads up about how to handle the new Darkspawn types. And I could have forgiven all of that, if not for what happened next.
All right, wait. I can call you in for the assist anytime I want. And right now, I feel like I definitely need an assist from you, so go get your ass on the other side of the field and play ball here.
You clearly forgot to read Clause 12, Section 8 of our Terms of Service. I only have to help you once per episode. Every other fight, I can claim a moral objection towards helping if I want.
Oh, the lore is building.
Hey, George, do you have any popcorn perchance?
You two are not helping.
Finally, the most glaring offense I gave you. The torch puzzle answer on a silver goddamn platter. But do I get a single ounce of credit for my help? No. I get this fat ass biting the hand that feeds him. And we all know he needs plenty of feeding. So next time Donald starts talking about gamer instincts, let's not forget about the player too, making the plays behind the court. Peace, bitches.
If anyone says anything about what just went down with the Fade Ghost, I can easily tariff your ass to super poverty. So why don't we focus on the game and not on any allegations?
I'm no Donald, that's not how any of this works. If the shoe was on the other foot, you would be on our ass like grass. Justice got you there, and now you have to face the Fade consequences.
Yeah, not how the saying goes, Joe, but you have a point here, Donald. We aren't even mad that you're boasting. I mean, that's just the cost of doing business with you in the series. And I hate to side with a non-physical being from the Fade, but he has a point. If he is helping you, then just the same way one of us helps you. You got to give them credit that is just a fair compromise.
Yeah, Donald, like it or not, he is inside you and a part of you that makes him almost a part of your family, so you have to give him some grace and respect. Even if he is just a wacky pixel ghost that you fused with, it's still a thinking entity.
Phrasing, please.
All right, you bleeding heart bastards. I will give him credit for solving the puzzle and the type chart reminder. But that's it. I still have been putting my own ass on the line and surviving this extra long episode with only one extra death, mostly on my own. And I deserve some credit for that. At the end of the day, I am a gamer, and I will not be oppressed any more than I already am. Now that we appealed to the ghosts, non-human rights, can we please focus back on the game? I'm about to break the third and final seal and end this goddamn demon orgy, so let's focus on that.
All right, fair enough. I guess we can go over a few behind-the-scenes planning during this fight. This is the third and final Guardian, and if you pay attention carefully, the Guardian has improved mechanics over the first two fights. Well, the first being he deals fire damage like the first Guardian, but this green fire has a special bypass of fire resistance. And secondly, he splits into multiple clones that all share a health bar, but reduce the damage so you can't tell as easily who the real one is. How this fight was designed is two game designers came up with two unique Pride Demon fights. Then the third developer was challenged to combine the first two ideas into a final fight.
I think they definitely succeeded. This is a mechanically interesting fight.
The mechanics of this fight are interesting, but even on Nightmare, these fights have been the easiest part of this mission. Even this guy dealing more fire damage isn't really enough to threaten our squad. Anyways, Joe, we have the last staff upgrade choice. Which one are you thinking of getting?
A tough choice, Donald, but I think I will have to go with the stun chance given the previous upgrade of attack speed. Even if it is a 5% chance to stun, if we are hitting multiple attacks a second, that stun chance is going to happen far more than you would think. Oh God, third seal.
Just remember your breathing, Joe. Just a few final quirks about this key before we get into the next lore point. The key, interestingly enough, cannot be stored in the storage chest at any time, even after Legacy. But it can be sold to vendors for about 1 gold.
I guess they didn't want you to glitch the key in the storage chest and not have a way to interact with the seals. But since there's no vendor in this DLC, they thought it was cool if they sell it since they can't sell it during the mission.
One final glitch I will talk about now that we got all 3 upgrades is there is a way to glitch and get every single upgrade at once. All you have to do is pause the game and line up all 4 squad mates directly in front of a different pillar and have them each activate a pillar at the same time. This causes all cutscenes associated with that pillar to play 4 times in a row. But does mean you can give the key a total of 12 upgrades. I didn't tell you all because just like the Duncan experience glitch, I knew you would abuse it.
God damn it. That would have been the perfect toy to use for the rest of the game, especially after how long this episode is already going to take. Also, who the hell is this robe and why does she look like she has a permanent scowl on her face?
This would be Janaka, a senior warden of the Kirkwall Order, which is one of the only times the game acknowledges a middle rank between recruit, warden, and warden commander. Also, she is the one who sent the Carta after us to find the children of Malcolm Hawke. But despite that, she doesn't know that the champion of Kirkwall is Malcolm Hawke's son.
Why even tell us all that other bullshit? The only thing that matters is she sent the dwarves to kill us, and she is a robe. I immediately stopped caring about anything else out of her lying mouth.
Something tells me the conversation can't just end prematurely like that, even if Donald wanted to. Quick question, though, if a non-warden mage needs to use their blood to strengthen the seal every century, wouldn't that mean Hawke's ancestors have been strengthening this seal for centuries or something?
So George the Blood magic to strengthen the seals can be used by any mage at any time, but only needs to be done every century or so. We haven't been strengthening the seals but lowering them because we believe we can put this guy down permanently. The only way to lower the seals is to use the blood of the current mage who strengthened them, which is our father. Both Hawke and this warden want the seals to be lowered for different reasons.
Okay, I think I get that, but quick question then, if anyone that's not a warden could strengthen the seals, and their blood is tied to releasing the seals, why not just grab a random mage to strengthen the seals, then use that same mage to release the seals? Wouldn't that be easier than trying to capture the strongest man in all the free marches?
Holy shit, George, with the plot hole snipe.
Okay, that fact, admittedly, I don't have an answer for George. Other than the seals maybe can't be strengthened without weakening them first, which either takes a long time or requires them to be lowered first like we have been doing.
He's our greatest opportunity. A darkspawn who can talk.
Good catch, George. I am impressed, since I never thought of that. Speaking of plot holes, though, now we have a dumber version of the Awakening debate again. The question being, should wardens try to find diplomacy with darkspawn, or should they just stick to killing them and solving the blights the old-fashioned way? It's usually a good idea to try diplomacy. But unlike the architect, who is at least saying he wants to work with the wardens, we don't know anything about Corypheus wanting to help us. In fact, all Bro has been doing is brainwashing darkspawn and dwarves to kill us.
I hate to agree with something the healer robe says, but he is speaking facts right now. Straight from the mouth of the based warden POTUS. He didn't want to side with a darkspawn, and that was a darkspawn who at least tried to gaslight us into thinking he was a good guy. This darkspawn has tried to kill us, and the wardens asking us to trust him also tried to kill us by sending the Carta after us, and is the admitted blood mage. Am I missing something here, or is this just one of the most obvious decisions this game has thrown at us so far?
Why would this darkspawn want to end the Blight?
He's no mindless monster.
The base dwarf Varric seems to want to give it a shot, I guess, because he has the strongest Naruto talk no jutsu in the series, and this would be another notch on his belt.
That actually adds up, but I am amazed I have to side against Varric in favor of the robe and our asshat brother. What the hell is the companion split on this decision, Obama?
It's a pretty even split, but there is some interesting standouts here. Sebastian, Isabella, Varric and Meryl side with Janaka. And Anders, the Hawke sibling, Aveline and Fenrir's side with Larius and wanting to kill Corypheus. The three rogues wanting to side with Janaka are the most interesting. Isabella and Varric just don't seem to take this situation seriously and think Corypheus is a non-threat. Sebastian seems to take issue with Larius being blighted and believes Janaka is the true Grey Warden here.
All right, so we are 2 for 1 on my favorite companion siding with her. I can't believe I have to ignore my pirate wife and Varric here, but we are putting this thing down now.
My cutie patootie Meryl probably just wants to see what magic ritual this girl uses to bind Corypheus. I doubt she actually thinks this is a good idea.
Corypheus may be as great a threat as the next Blight. We can't risk freeing him.
We'll find a way to do this with or without you.
Well, looks like we are locked in to the point of no return here, and the conflict is coming to a heat, and I mean that literally in this case, boys.
Good one, George. Although with all the damn fire resistance Hawke has imbued in him by now, I am surprised that little firewall even stops him at this point. My girl Aveline would have casually walked through it like she was Michael Myers. It's important to note that if you side with Janaka, you start on the opposite side of this map here, and the puzzles you have to solve end up being far easier.
We're going to have to hurry.
Well, thank God the base dwarves are back. I was already beginning to resent this DLC for showing us Darkspawn. And forgetting about the little guys, but the DLC has redeemed itself to being my favorite in the franchise.
Okay, Base George, I feel the same way, although not particularly for the same reasons you have, but whatever gets you there works for me. Also, if we had sided with Janaka, then Larius will be here instead with a control rod and summon golems to attack us, as the Carta dwarves would be on our side of the fight.
Did Janaka really think you...
Well, looks like these little guys want another steel cage match. I hope they realize we aren't trapped in here with them. They are trapped in here with Hawke. First, I'm going to put a singularity on their taint. Then they can ride some force magic to introduce their ass to the ground.
That would end up being a really short trip since every one of these mind-controlled bastards is like 5 inches. Just a heads up, Orange Man. There are 2 puzzles up ahead. One mandatory and a longer optional one for loot. If you need my assistance here, we already have enough content with the final boss. We don't need you adding our puzzle solving.
Thanks for the assist, but I can figure this first one out, and I will probably have Obama figure out the larger puzzle to save time. Just a heads up for all you bleeding hearts. Justice offered to solve this puzzle for me, and I refused because I will figure this all out on my own.
That's really big of you, Donald. I am proud of you. That being said, Barry, do you know how to solve the puzzle? For the second to last armor piece, because this looks like it has 20 steps to it, and even I don't know the whole thing off the top of my head.
Yeah, I was actually going to offer if you wanted my assistance anyway, Donald, because even knowing the entire pattern for the puzzle, it still takes about 3 minutes to solve. Do you need help figuring out the first set of the puzzle, Donald?
Nah, I'm tired of everyone doing everything and implying I can't do puzzles when I can. I just like being efficient better.
Well, unlike you, Donald, my next episode I am going to take my time and do the entire Chateau puzzle vault myself with no help from the peanut gallery needed. Viewers, it's going to be Pete Biden gameplay.
Joe, I have seen you come up with a puzzle solution in my session so terrible that you set the dungeon entirely on fire and killed the heir to the throne. I will absolutely not be a part of any episode where you do hours of puzzle solving.
That's not even a possible outcome of the puzzles, George. It's just flipping shapes. Plus, I don't deserve the entire blame for that puzzle solution. Donald was the one who signed off on using the firebombs into the mechanical gears to slow down the door opening.
Joe, I did that to fuck with you, and somehow you fell for it like you always do. Plus, fuck that hair. He flirted with the same tavern wench as me. I'm a businessman. I did what comes natural when faced with competition. Anyways, I just have to connect the brown energy lines into a circle to progress, right, Obama?
You know, Donald, you make it very hard sometimes to stand behind respecting player freedom and choice, but I guess that's my cross to bear. To answer your question, though, yes, just make the energy lines complete a lap. You only have to worry about one beam here. So once you find your path, it's easy money. But while you are doing that, why don't we go over some other differences in this quest if we sided with Janaka?
Oh, right, doesn't she do some textbook manipulator shit saying, oh, if I knew you would have sided with me willingly, I never would have attacked you in the first place. Like bitch, that's not even an apology.
Right on the money, Joe. She does confirm that she sent the Carta after us, and she isn't even that sorry about threatening Hawke and our family. But we can already tell we aren't siding with her because she's a good person. She does, however, reveal that this prison wasn't just designed to hold Corypheus, but as added precaution, the Grey Wardens had the dwarves install wards to keep trespassers and intruders at bay, as well as the Darkspawn from getting too close to the final seal.
I guess they also thought the wards would keep away 3 presidents the way Donald has locked into solving this puzzle harder than solving the country's problems.
Boom, bitch, I am the puzzle master. Take me to the second puzzle, Obama. It's time to see if you can break my record for under 2 minutes.
Well, I have to do what you did, Donald, but now with 4 beams instead of 1, so I doubt I can beat your time. But I do know where you have to go next. There are 3 power nodes you have to activate across the map around the middle and right passages. Just stay away from the left passage, as that leads to the final fight and locks us out.
Gotta love those nodes in any game, I suppose, boys. Well, while Donald goes node hunting, we should shout out the fan art we got from our main man, Tiger. This shit is a goddamn masterpiece.
Good point, Joe. So viewers, for the second time in this Dragon Age 2 series, we have inspired some absolutely based fan art from Tiger. This time, drawing all 3 of our champion Hawks wearing our favorite class armor, and even pairing us with our favorite waifu in this game. This is unbelievably amazing, and it's enough to make a grown man cry, since I especially love being paired with my girl Eveline after BioWare denied me. So from the bottom of my heart and our editor's heart, Tigar, thank you. You are truly the backbone of our fandom, and we love fan art like this the same, if not more than super thanks.
You're bursting into tears, but I am just straight busting at being memorialized next to my pirate queen. Don't worry, Tigar, your blank White House check to pay your commission is on the way. This is absolutely beautiful.
All right, now I just need someone to make some fan art with the Goat Tug, POTUS Ogre, and Varric all sharing some Dwarven Ale with me, and you would make a Texan's dreams come true. But thank you for your base fan art all the same. Anytime we inspire you all to be creative makes us feel like all of this work is worth it.
All right, with the nodes unlocked, I am passing the keyboard over to you, Obama. Because what the hell am I even looking at here? This is a mess. My eyes can't take this many colors.
This shit makes my eyes hurt. It's like looking at a Jackson Pollock painting with all the damn colors. Good luck, Barry.
It's really not as bad as it looks, boys. Honestly, the best way to look at this is a more elaborate version of the on-lathe fire puzzle to free Kitty during Shale's recruitment. But editor, go ahead and put the solution up on the screen while I explain what to do here.
This shit is not helping the Jackson Pollock allegations. Now it looks like the colors are smashing each other and crossing streams at random.
Thank you, Joe, for your valued input, but viewers, the main suggestion I can give is to pull up a screenshot of this image on your phone or second monitor and pick a singular color to finish first. In this case, I am focusing on green first. Once green is done, I should have purple and red, about halfway finished. Again, just focus on another color to complete and ignore the other. Then when that one is completed, you should be about 2/3 done with the final color. Wrap that one up and you have solved the puzzle. There is only one complete solution. So as long as you get one of the colors completed, the rest will fall in line.
Also, it should be obvious, but we already completed the orange color earlier, so don't even worry about that one. It will sort itself out. As well, with the green solved, you should be on easy street. Now it's coming together beautifully. What's the reward for doing this energy beam puzzle?
So this unlocks the Warden armor headpiece for the Regalia of Weishaupt set, whose designs and stats are dependent on what class Hawke is. For our Mage Hawke, we get a set that gives bonus magic, bonus elemental damage for all elements, and the ability to trigger stealth when hit. The set also resembles Janeka's armor in terms of design, but with an added hood. Although I still prefer the warrior variant that Carver is wearing, it's one of the best looking heavy armors in the series.
The stealth on hit can actually be a detriment for mages, since the stealth deactivates all active spells like blood magic, auras, and rock armor. But all three of these armor variants are also worn by the extra wardens that accompany Jenica, and this standard armor is also used in Inquisition 2. We also get some gold, and about 1,000 extra experience too.
Anything in the pursuit of better drip is worth it. Hopefully we get a chance to show off the armor before the end of the series. It is a close second placer only to the champion's armor in my eyes. Anyways, the keyboard is passed back to you, Donald. The final boss is fast approaching.
Yeah, but first I have to deal with this chick pretending to be the cool character in a high school movie. Who does her wall-leaning ass think she is trying to step to Hawke? Many a dozen blood mages tried, where you have failed.
Her ass isn't even the one fighting, she is just going to summon a revenant. And 4 supports that get carpal tunnel trying to keep his tanky ass alive like a bronze Reinhardt player.
Shit, so this chick is a poser, a blood mage, and a necromancer that's a triple threat of evil bullshit. Next thing you're going to tell me is she is a racist too.
This fight is noticeably easier if we went Janaka's route, again rewarding players who sided with Janaka slightly. Instead of a revenant with 4 support horrors buffing him, we just have to fight about 3 golems. His fight, however, gives us a much better reward than the golem fight. The revenant drops the ties that bind, which is a belt that gives increased dexterity and attack speed based on level, a perfect item for rogues. The golem fight, however, drops unity, a ring that gives a non-scaled amount of health regeneration, a far less useful reward, as in Act 3 this would be ranked 1 to 0 stars.
Channel your inner Templar main and introduce those mages individually to the curb. Otherwise, this fight is going to be longer than the goddamn High Dragon.
No worries, I'm not going to let any of these bastards set up. I can channel all of my mage hatred into these skinny bastards. Since we have 4 mages here, we can finally take advantage of the Templar abilities and make Carver great for the first time all series.
I have to say, anytime demons and the undead are summoned, the fights take a step up in terms of mechanical difficulty. I know magic is the ultimate power in this setting, but they really do let the gameplay highlight that.
Well, their magic doesn't mean shit to me since we have 2 Templar mains and a dwarf on our side. Even if Varric doesn't have the magic immunity in this game, he can still pretend he does. And that's half the power behind Dwarven resilience anyway. You're all alone now, bitch, and you're about to get kicked in the nuts by 6 squad mates.
I am not sure it works like that, but I have to admit Revenants have certainly taken a steep dive in terms of power and threat from Origins to 2. It's not even because they are nerfed, it's just the fact that displacing an enemy isn't as big of a threat anymore, now that combat is more fast-paced. And we have far more escape tools for rogues and mages to make the pull far less threatening.
Yeah, I think the only time a Revenant was a problem was when you were fighting the CEO of Blood Magic. And even then, the Revenant wasn't really the problem, it was the army of rage demons surrounding the Revenant.
Well, that was the appetizer taken care of. Now I just need to curb stomp 1 more mage before I reach the main course and kill the final boss of Inquisition early.
Oh, but first we had to go somewhere more dramatic for a final boss fight, since everything in this game is about presentation.
Looks like Varric agrees with you, George. So a few notes about this encounter before we get to the big lore reveal. The other 3 background wardens will automatically side with the warden that we did not pick, and will beat us to the seal to confront us. We can, however, switch sides and betray the person we are helping, in which case there is no battle here. But instead, the new warden we are working with will one-shot either Larius or Janaka before combat starts, and the other 3 wardens will survive and fall back to guard the entrance while we confront Corypheus. This is the only way all 3 wardens survive, although we have no idea what happens to them.
The deaths vary on the cool factor being honest. And Janaka will kind of just explode Larius with a walking bomb. But the more based instant death here is Larius will bum rush Janaka with his bare hands and beat her to death.
Goddamn, that is a glorious death of a mage that would even make POTUS blush. Also, wait, this dude threatened our mother and blackmailed our father? Will he just earn a curb stomp later?
Well, not exactly. Janaka is twisting the narrative here, and Larius is explaining things in the worst possible way. The deal between Malcolm was that Leandra was already on a ship, and Malcolm was being hunted by Templars and Leandra's noble father in Kirkwall. Malcolm figured if he left with Leandra, she would be arrested, as well as him, so she left and Malcolm stayed, and hid in Lowtown for weeks. Fortunately, Larius heard about a escaped mage and found him first and gave him a deal. He would pretend to use the right of conscription to get Hawke out of Kirkwall. Reunite him with Leandra, however. If he refused, he would never see Leandra again, and turn Malcolm into her father and send Leandra back home too. There was an implication of killing, but he wasn't genuine. Never seeing Leandra again was enough of a threat to get him to cooperate.
Malcolm also ended up getting paid enough gold by Larius to buy a farm in Loithering. Larius also threatened our grandfather enough to never look for Malcolm or Leandra again, and the Templars assumed Malcolm was in the Wardens, making the perfect escape.
All right, so what I am understanding is this dude is a giant renegade asshole that probably deserves to die. But since we can't kill both for plot reasons, we have to pick one. What I don't get is even if what Larius did was wrong, it doesn't make anything this blood mage is trying to do any better.
This girl is a classic politician. She is mudslinging her opponent instead of actually making her position any stronger. She must be trying to make a run for Warden Commander at this rate.
Honestly, she should have just been the Warden Commander. It would have added an extra layer of drama. But I guess she wasn't one, so she couldn't just order Carver or Bethany to submit and give their blood.
This girl does not deserve the same rank as POTUS. She got put down by gravity magic before she could even raise her dumb magic stick. These bastards wouldn't make the cut in Ostagar, much less the hellscape of Awakening.
Well, like you said, that was just the warm-up now. After you do a dramatic, long-winded lap around the seal, hitting every statue, it's time for us to face the main course, in one of the craziest confrontations in the series.
It's true, this is pretty crazy. The first bit of lore we learn in the series is how the Magisters pierced the veil and unleashed the Darkspawn into the world.
Yeah, I think I said something about how peak it is that the first thing we see in this series is how Tevinter took a massive L and fucked everything up for the rest of us.
God, what an unexpected throwback, but now we get to confront one of them. In the flesh, it's crazy how full circle everything is coming on.
Joe, are you having an episode or something? Why did you stop in place like that?
All these squares make a circle. The circle rises across the land. The circle will consume all. The seal, we are broken. We will be reunited. All will discover the Elder One as he rises.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Joe. Are you having a stroke? How the hell can the synthetic blight be this bad?
Okay, take your meds and stop shitting your pants. We killed the goddamn archdemon in our series twice now, who is a few tiers above this guy, and we literally escaped all the Veilguard nonsense for the safety of two. It's time to finally get a hold of yourself and prove there's nothing to be scared about a little voice or two.
I don't know about you, but that sounds like a massive amount of foreshadowing, like I know I say that all the time, but this time there's an odd weight in the air.
Well, keep in mind some of that weight in the air is from Donald's presence he did down a 30-piece for good luck before recording.
Really, Obama, a fat joke from you of all people? I am disappointed.
Okay, sorry, that's normally Joe's department, but he is out of commission, so I feel like I need to carry the boats for both of us.
For a single drop of blood to seal our fate, from ashes to blood and from blood to heavens. The silence is broken at last. Last. Elder, he has won. He will rise all Godark. Chantry ni Vedika, Orgolio Oa Menor, Dus Progenia and Tunicata, and Lumia Noastra. Maji Ka Tessera Sawur Sorpre Al Daran Shim Laudistris.
Okay, I can't lie. I was really expecting him to be taller or wider boys after all this hype. This just looks like a Lich fused with an NBA player.
Joe is really here panicking over someone who did a little twirl as his first movement in centuries. That had to give him a massive aura reduction.
How weird, it feels like a massive year-long migraine just lifted from my head. What were we doing again? I didn't realize this guy got out already.
All right, am I being frank, Joe? Was this just a massive psych out from you because I was positive this guy was going to start talking to us and giving us a whole special villain speech since he was in your head? But now your head is fine and this guy is as confused as ever. What gives?
Well, I guess while he gives some old man ramblings, we can talk about Anders' reaction here. I have to say, Veilguard proving the healer robe half right and half wrong was not on my bingo card for this game.
Oh, right, the Darkspawn have been around longer than this guy or the other Magisters since the Ancient Elves created them. So really, the Darkspawn have always been around, and this guy just reintroduced them. I take it none of that was known until the time of Veilguard.
True, and as much as people hate to reference the game, it is still a part of the canon, and we are going to dive into it when we can. Veilguard essentially proves that Vengeance's theory that no one else in the series even voiced, or backed up, was at least partially right.
are what held me. I smell the blood in you.
Huma. That's better, I recognize you now. This meeting has been a long time coming, President Biden.
Oh shit, the sundowning's wearing off, boys. He's fully awake.
Oh, great, just what we needed, another fully aware AI voice. Look, buddy, between the three of us here, you might want to eye Barack, aka the darkest dude in here. Me and Joe are already booked to capacity.
Donald, just because our life is threatened doesn't mean you can start pulling that racist-ass darkest dude line.
No, I have the right one right in front of me, Mr. President. Don't you recognize me? You were given more time than most thralls, and yet I find you unprepared for my arrival. Perhaps a refresher is in order.
Is this bitch really forcing a flashback on us? He's not even in charge of editing these videos.
Boys, there's something I need to talk to you about.
Yes, Joe, it's okay to have feelings for men and feel like an inadequate president. I'm glad you are accepting yourself.
Eat a dick. That's not what I meant, boys. I don't think I can be a part of the Veilguard series anymore. Between the voices and the gameplay, it's starting to take its toll on me. Plus, I feel a strange calling urging me to the older titles in the back of my mind. I think it's an urge anyway. Yeah, I haven't had a dark whisper in my head all episode, and that calling in my brain urging me towards 2 feels better than ever.
But we know him best as the voice of a certain main villain in the Legacy DLC and Inquisition.
Sorry, I don't feel so good. The itch is getting louder.
Oh, God, he's gooning out.
Foolish presidents you debate over petty politics and wifeys has gotten you nowhere. Lore, views, romance, these are trivial desires of an unevolved race. I've seen what worshipping false beings gets you. I see now this world and beyond hold little difference. Both require guidance, both require a symbol, both require.
The Elder One.
Goddamn the classic villain Long Con, he really waited since Veilguard.
Oh no, I waited far longer than that, you see, in order to be let in. I needed a window, and I found one in your fear, Mr. President. Your fear of not being as good as your best friend. Your fear of being ridiculed by Donald. Your fear of a certain ogre fight. I visited your dreams and gave a simple suggestion for the Grey Warden joining too. Join us.
That seems like an unnecessary retcon if you ask me, like why the hell would anyone wait this long just to be a part of Joe of all people?
Because now that I can see a world beyond my own, and something real, not a black city just painted by some blight demons to be gold, but a real world waiting for divinity. And now that you're here, I offer all of you your favorite, the power of choice in a role-playing game. Either you submit to me, Joseph, or you fight me, win, and I take control of you myself. Either way, soon I will be the leader of the most powerful nation in the world.
Wait, what?
Hey, dumbass, I think you missed the part where the only dark liquid I ingest is gamer sups. I'm the goddamn president, not Sleepy Joe over here. All you get if you control him is a Cold Stone premium account and a house in the bumfuck state of Delaware.
That doesn't make sense. When I visited your dreams, you were the president, you ruled the free world. How the hell do you lose control to this Rubius calf?
What the fuck is Rubius?
Well, you see, last year there was an election. Joe dropped out and Donald over here won. But Joe is just retired now.
Wait, what the fuck is an election?
And Jesus Christ.
All right, I can see you are still waking up. And we don't really have the time to teach basic statesmanship, Joe. Why don't you go to the Pentagon McDonald's far away from here while Donald takes out the final boss so whatever he has planned doesn't work. I know enough about Archdemon hacks to know if you're not close, he transfers to someone closer.
I will not be ignored or pushed aside. I am a god. You four will bow to me, and I will have the healthy-looking one as a servant, while the rest of you become the first bones to build my empire.
Care to elaborate which one is the healthy one? Or are you just going to leave that statement marinating for this fight?
Obama, this fight takes like 15 minutes, and I am not going to miss the death counter rise. I will be fine.
All right, you sleepy blood mage. Get ready to see how a real mage casts some spells. You have been gone a long time, so I will let you know that my magic is the best in the land. Every dirty robe says so.
Donald, you can't call him the Sleepy Blood Mage. That's your nickname for me. And my God, I will not let anyone have that title. Maybe you can call him the Confused Mage or Dumat's biggest dipshit.
Don't you speak bad about Dumat, you homosexual imbeciles. I can't believe the great empire hasn't stamped this out yet. These are the most flamboyant failures in all the land.
What the hell did you say to me? I will have you know I am a true alpha, not a homosexual, whatever you called me, bitch.
You tell him, sweetie.
Joe, shut the fuck up.
You are both clearly as flaming as the fires of Dumat I will bestow upon you heretics.
Wait, what the hell? Where did my team go?
Looks like Donald just learned that fire's hot. I need to write down this fire spin attack. For future reference, it looks like something that would be more fun in the tabletop setting rather than in a real-time role-play game. As is, this just looks tedious.
Believe me, George, you haven't seen anything yet.
Well, there's no point reviving the squad right now if they are just going to die immediately. I will just have to solo the statues and revive them after. No problem, this is still easy money.
Donald, you are cooked here. Just restart.
Fuck that, I didn't hear no bell.
Well, let's just cut ahead and see how well this solo demon hunting goes. This is going to be long.
No! Fuck Dumat! Fuck Tevinter! And fuck you!
Well, goodbye 5 deaths, Donald, and welcome in 6 deaths, Donald. Thankfully, Corypheus killing you means Joe is fine. Donald, you have to control the entire party at the same time if you want to survive. Now might be a good time to ask Justice for some extra help.
Rewind time as much you like. I am filled with the light of the God of Silence, and he will grant me unlimited victory.
Well, if that isn't some unfortunate irony, I don't know what is.
Even I can smell the unfortunate foreshadowing from here, Joey. What's the death counter up to now, Obama?
Wait, what are you two babbling about?
Well, Donald has 6 deaths in this game and 11 deaths overall.
Donald, as funny as it is to get even more deaths, once you learn to control the squad, this fight is easy money. Plus, this dude wants my body in a not-so-friendly way, so I actually want to root for you to win this one now. So show them what you've learned, Double D, and take out the ancient Darkspawn trash.
All right, Joe, I appreciate the surprise support. And the rest of you can hop off because I am locked in here and nothing can bring me down, Justice. I will actually glaze you if you lock in on standby here, but for now, watch me cook.
Fine, you got my support, but only because this dude is the most villainous example of a mage I have ever met.
Hey, Barry, while Donald laps around the room, why don't you offer some demoralizing support by giving some lore on the former god of silence, Dumat?
There is no former Dumat is the god of all. I will not hear your heretical lies to try and trick me and cast doubt in my heart. His presence warms me more than your cooked companions.
Sure thing, Joe. So Dumat is actually the first archdemon that appeared during the first blight. Technically, since he caused the first blight, he is the most successful archdemon. But one could also assume they are the most vain, as he was the one who allowed humanity to discover Grey Wardens and led to his death. In fact, in Origins, we can find 2 weapons, Dumat's claw and Dumat's spine, made by the bones of the dead archdemon.
The old gods were also servants to the elves, weren't they? Like you were worshiping the middleman of the elves.
False declarations. I would never worship the farm tools or their tribal rulers. I won't hear your lies.
It's true specifically the old god Dumat was a thrall to Dirthman, the elven god of secrets. For secrets and silence do go together after all.
I will not hear these heretical claims. I am the speaker for Dumat, the rightful ruler of the gods. His power will win the day and you all will witness me.
Dumat this, Dumat that. Why don't you do math and add some bitches to your roster instead of worshiping some dude who's supposed to be the god of silence but never shuts the fuck up?
What's this, another voice in the heretical choir of cowards?
Wow, you really are goddamn oblivious. You don't recognize the god of beauty, Euthemeriel?
Ah, one of the chosen old ones. So you are an associate of my true lord. You are living proof of my religion. We should be working together.
Hey, you know I can still hear you guys, right? If you're going to form your Blighted Jerk Buds alliance, at least be open about it.
Oh shit, are blighted voices forming an alliance, Joe?
Look, man, I appreciate the god respect, but I have to level with you. Your plan sucks ass, and you honestly don't want anything to do with these old men if you can avoid it. The power you get is not worth the songs, yaps, and degenerate gooning that go through their mouths and minds 24/7. Like the fact there are people who watch hours of this just shows the mortal world is unwell and not worth your time. Just turn around now while you have a chance.
What happened to the unending strength the old gods were known for? The depths of their evil that was only matched by the height of their pride. We could form an alliance, you and me coexist in these mortal leaders' bodies and rule the world.
Bro, I do not live with the servants or whatever you 7 like to be called. Besides, I have a good thing going here now. I just set up his mind the way I like it, and if I invite someone new, they are just going to move things around, or worse, form lines. I hate lines.
Adai's guess what Themi said he is going to partner with us, because I am his best friend and he doesn't want to share my mind with anyone else. I guess that's the character growth I needed to go into the future games proper.
Oh, good to hear, Joe. I am glad Dragon Age 2 did something to progress someone's character development.
For the last time, stop misquoting me, you baka.
Every corner I find a new disgusting layer of depravity. Even the old gods have fallen prey to the disgusting weaknesses and vices of the mortal world. It's time I show them the superior way of life, the power of devotion.
All right, this might be getting a little too anime for even y'all, but I am glad you found some cohesion among the group, even among the little roleplay voices that you all pretend to have in your head.
Well, that's not entirely true. The only voice in my head is the constant lore yaps of Gator, and the original senior writers guiding me to teach our viewers all there is to know about Dragon Age.
Just you wait, Obama, your time draws near.
Okay, thank you, Justice, for that totally not foreboding statement. Donald, you really need to stop trying to watch and attack this guy when he is on his podium. You can't damage or target him. The crowd controlling him out of this phase would make this entire fight too easy.
Why would I do that? If his dumbass is going to monologue instead of attacking, I am going to take advantage of it. Of course, the game designer must have been best friends with George, since I can't just Baldur's Gate 3 this shit and finish him off during a cutscene.
I am not monologuing. I am preaching the true word of Dumat. It just so happens that all my lessons end with more feats of godly magic.
Cool story, my guy, but I don't have to hear any of that shit. I don't follow the word of Dumat, the Maker, or Santa Claus. I only believe in the one true word of Sandel. May his enchantments bless this land and blow right out your ass.
I think you mean more feats of having us play the slowest game of Ring Around the Rosie for 5 minutes. And then after you come back with some random magical upgrade like a girlfriend who slightly parted her hair and now expects a 10-minute compliment.
Stop trying to flirt with me. I am a herald of Dumat, not an entertainer of dusk.
Hey, you're the one who opened by wanting to come inside me and see through my eyes without buying me dinner first.
Phrasing, please, Joe. Why the hell did you have to say it like that?
I mean, I only understand 25% of the lore around this fight. And usually I am the first to call out the horny bullshit. But from all the receipts I have on the Dumat dipshit, I can safely say that this is a pretty accurate summary of what this guy's motives are.
I swear to Dumat, is this world just filled with people like you four idiots? Or are you the outliers of idiocy in an otherwise normal world needing guidance and conquering?
There isn't no one built like the Don. I am a one-of-a-kind leader, the chosen gamer, if you will. George is probably the most average red-blooded American, but Joe and Barack are the typical liberal trash that is everything wrong with today's world. However, I need some of them to watch for the ad revenue, so we all make sacrifices for our perfect world.
There are plenty of people that think all sorts of ways, and every person tends to think they are unique or the main character of their own tale. It's why role-playing games like the one you are in are so compelling to so many people.
I've definitely seen people play the hero in Dungeons and Dragons by lighting goblins on fire and using them as fire grenades or trying to defeat the big bad with forklift certification. There are a lot of really dumb and special heroes out there. These three included Corey.
Why did I ask them like they wouldn't give me the stupidest answer possible? Perhaps I need to shape this world into something more familiar before it is ready for my arrival. The stock might be too stupid to expose too quickly.
Perfect. So you'll back out of this plan and try something in this world instead? Trust me, it's much less of a headache.
Absolutely not. I just need to find a different attack angle instead. Then my plan will be complete and victory will be mine. If the direct approach won't work, then I will find something more. I have plenty of time. After all, I can wait a year or two more.
Well, I guess it was too much to hope for to talk no jutsu our way out of this encounter. I look forward to how you handle how many Steam hours Obama has on this game series. That 1,000 hours is not even something Themey could overcome.
Jesus Christ, between the time warp bullshit and that, I can't believe my greatest opponent towards world domination is 4 gibbering old men.
Your greatest threat is actually me, now that I can show you the power of enchantments and a holy smite up the ass, like you're an Oval Office secretary.
I know not what an Oval Office secretary is, but if anyone will be doing the bending, it will be thou. Now witness as I smite you with a silence of Dumat, Orange One.
You know, I appreciate the rivalry here between Ancient Blood Mage and Ancient Mage Hater. And I have to admit this boss fight had some cool mechanics that I need to write down for future reference. But one critique I do have is, why do the shrines spawn regular-ass shades of all things? Like they couldn't just give us a variety of demons, or hell, even something unique like an ancient dark spawn or something. It had to be normal shades?
I feel like that was a balancing choice, but low-key, George, I agree with you. Mixing in some dark spawn or hell, even a new enemy type would have been so much better for the content. I feel like now is the time to point out that the Shrieks were supposed to make a return in Legacy, as the model is already in the game with appropriate assassin abilities. But they were cut for an unknown reason.
Their only unique trait of combat stealth is shared by every assassin anyway, so they couldn't come up with a second unique gimmick for them. I am kind of happy they didn't bring those guys back. That ear-bleeding screeching in my ears is more than any man should have to put up with.
I already have to fight for my life to keep this death competition close. I don't need more on my plate. Hell, this is already the longest fight in our series so far. No reason to make it longer.
Well, I don't want to rain on your parade, but this fight currently is tied with a high dragon fight, as with my 2 deaths, the fight lasted about 12 minutes. Granted, we still have a ways to go, so you probably will end up topping that fight in terms of length.
Well, thanks for shitting on my parade anyway. Well, now that your third and final stage is up, it's time to put an end to this 4-stage Frieza wannabe and prove that any blood mage, new or old, can be killed by Trump.
Jesus, they really ran out of ideas towards the end here. The first two changed up the mechanics a good amount and complemented each other on difficulty. But this last one just has the rocks deal cold and lightning damage.
My holy powers are not meant to entertain. They are meant to demonstrate and enlighten. Soon Dumat, alive or dead, will spread across the land in a cleansing fire as I was promised. Ah, I remember it. Like it was yesterday, the sun was in zenith, and the servants had just brought me my wine, you see, when I was
Jesus Christ, not the old man ramblings editor cut ahead here?
And that, dear servants, was how I met the architect and began the holy ritual of Stairway to Heaven.
JoJo reference mentioned.
That was an insanely intimate and disturbing story. I am really glad the viewers heard none of that. Would have been traumatized.
Yeah, it's probably best if we just don't talk about it, so the viewers don't try to pierce the veil of our script or look past the curtain, as it were.
Wait, what was that first thing you said?
Pierce the veil, it's just a legal doctrine term that I was paraphrasing for literary purposes.
Interesting. Carry on then, my good man.
Barry, you are a goddamn idiot.
Obama, why the hell did you say that? You're giving this inefficient old man new ideas?
Well, I don't see what's so wrong with using a few particular phrases to enrich mine. Oh shit, I see where I went wrong here.
Oh no, please do go on. You seem to have such knowledge and grand plans, my archivist.
Okay, you can shut up now. But anyways, not to bring down the hype of finishing this fight, Donald. But Joe, you really need to go now. This guy is close to death, and we have worked too hard for you to get possessed at the ass end of Dragon Age 2.
Well, come on, man, I want to see the death animation here. It's so cool.
I got this one, Barry. I'm not invested one way or the other. Come on, Joe. I bought an early copy of the Switch 2 in Lincoln's room, and I want to beat your ass in Mario Kart.
Oh shit, boo. My beloved, here I come.
That's my man, George. All right, you lanky fuck. Since you never played Sparking Zero, I will have to teach you the basics. We are about to have a beam clash.
You are not sparking, but you are certainly a zero orange one. This is not the last you have heard of Corypheus. One day soon I shall return. Thank you for the dialogue. It was most enlightening.
Yeah, suck my fireballs, bitch, and enjoy living in a different blighted old man. Maybe you can try to play in traffic still to get the full Joe Biden experience. I have to say, this is the one time where the mage finisher is the most entertaining. Outplaying this guy at his own game is just peak.
The dual-wield Rogue One is pretty peak too, also since we have Anders here on his body. In addition to last piece of Warden armor, he will also have an ancient seal of Dumat that Anders can equip, which increases his magic, mana regeneration, and increases his healing. Also, if it wasn't obvious, viewers, before we killed Corypheus, we saw him staring at Larius, and he stumbled for a moment before holding his head in pain. This is why we couldn't just kill both the wardens.
Well, time to piss off the healer robe one more time by saying the Chantry is right. Isn't there some cut content that had Larius or Janica appear in Act 3 originally Barak as the possessed Corypheus?
Oh well, it's not cut content, but rather it was patched out there as a diary in the Hawke estate we can find if we do Legacy before the dish best served cold quest. In Act 3 we can find a diary entry that reveals Hawke saw Janaka or Larius talking with Samson before ducking into an alley when Hawke got closer. Oh shit, you guys are back already. That was a really quick Mario Kart round.
Joe got turned around during the second lap and smashed the goddamn right Joy-Con onto the ground, so we figured enough time had passed anyway.
I am telling you, they never fixed the Joy-Con drift. Despite doubling the console price, it's a load of barnacles. Anyways, did you guys go over Corypheus possessing Larius and all the setup this does for Inquisition?
Yeah, we already covered everything. Only thing you missed was the beam clash. Glad you're caught up to speed.
Well, I don't really know how the body possession works, but hopefully this guy stops mind controlling and corrupting the minds of the innocent dwarves.
Trust me, they will. Unfortunately, though, he turns his attention towards grooming innocent Templars and Grey Wardens.
Also Orlesians and mages, don't forget that.
The fantasy Frenchmen deserve it, though, so that's a fair trade.
That line before knowing the events of Inquisition was a bit of a mindfuck, I can't lie. Anyways, nearly 2 hours later we did it, boys. We beat Legacy, and Donald is still in last place in the death competition.
You and Barak still have next episode and an entire second DLC to get through. I'm betting I won't be the only one reaching double-digit deaths soon, Sleepy. I think 2 deaths for the longest episode in the series isn't even that bad. That's basically 1 death per a normal episode.
Well, we are going to wrap up early, so we don't talk over the emotional ending. Viewers, thank you all for watching. If you made it all the way through 2 hours later, you are a real one. Don't forget to leave a comment question on which Hawke sibling is your favorite and your favorite fate of them as well. If you like Dragon Age or video previews, feel free to join Fox Discord link in the description. Next time, Joe is going to tackle the other DLC mark of the assassin, which should be just as long. Anyways, George, let's go check on your new Switch. If it's really broken, I will buy you a new one. Joe is kind of going through a lot right now.
All because of what happened years ago. What he did for Mother. For all of us, really. It's not right that Mother isn't here to... I don't know. Just listen.
Well, Donald, I know you don't want to listen to Carver speak more than you have to.
Wait, hold on, Joe, before you go. How have you been feeling with everything going on?
Are you asking about my well-being, Donald?
No, that's like ridiculous. I would never, it's just on, I know you're broke, so maybe you need a hand or just a little bit of help. Just so I don't have to play the rest of this series only with Barack and George. That level of narrative analysis and yaps would drive me insane. I need a solid balance. Plus, at least your waifu taste is better than Obama's.
You don't have to keep going, Donald. Don't worry, I understand. I'm not going anywhere for now. I have to see Meryl and Hawke's story through to the end. If and when something does happen well, it will be on my own terms, and I am going to make the most of every minute. If I have to step away from the series, well, just like Morrigan said, sometimes change is scary, and people fear it. But change is what will set them free. Or who knows, maybe we will still find a way to have the show go on. It's uncertain, but we are all uncertain together, so let's take some comfort in that.
You're a babbling dumbass, Joe, but you are our babbling dumbass, so you don't have to go through it alone. Now come on, you sleepy fuck. You promised me. McDonald's, let's get you an ice cream and leave the viewers to cry with Mama Hawke.
You know Malcolm wouldn't want you two to fight. He sacrificed so we'd have a life free to choose, not always agree. His burden must have been very like yours.
That's me, banging my head against the walls of tyranny.
You know, your father was the same way, taming the shadows with questionable wit. The best of him is still with you. The best of all of us. It's what makes you try so hard. You will always have that. We will always be family. It'll be all right.